Most High Christ bless. Happy Sabbath. Shalom, brothers. Shalom, brothers and sisters online. Shalom, sisters. The other went over some topics regarding the conference against us. I don't know what the hell for. Anyway, there's a conference, one false conference against us. And it's like it's 3 days long, and they're addressing certain topics. I don't know why if you're trying to stop someone, you shouldn't announce your strategy. It's kind of productive. But whatever. Heathens is simple. Today's topic is called Christianity was and is the new face of Hellenism and paganism. Christianity was and is the new face of Hellenism and paganism. That's today's topic. Christianity is, in fact, Hellenism, a new age form of Hellenism and paganism. That's all it is. We're going to go through that tonight. Christianity is a word that's nowhere found in the Bible, so I don't know how we're a cult. You find something that's non-biblical. But Christianity is nowhere found in the Bible, nowhere. And it came to be a term that was given to those who adhere to the Christian faith or whatever. But the Christianity of today is not the same doctrine of Christ that was around when the Messiah was teaching. It's another doctrine, another gospel. All right? So we want to deal with this real quick. This is off topic. Not off topic, but I didn't write it down. 2 Corinthians. 1 second. Another gospel. No, I want. Another gospel. 11:4. Right, I want that. Sir. I want that first. Just open up with that. Because they're trying to argue, or their argument is that they're doing a segment saying that that Christianity, they're going to debunk the thought that Christianity came from the white man. Good luck with that one. But I'm going to give them that. Christianity, in fact, did not come from the white man. Didn't. It was later on in history spread by him, but it didn't quite. They're actually right. So I'm going to go over where it did come from and how, regardless of who it came from, it's still evil as hell. That's what I'm going to go over. 2 Corinthians 11. So they're partially right. So they get partial credit for that. 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 4.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 4. For if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus.
Now, the only nation I know of that pushed another Christ would be the so-called white man. I don't know of any Asian Jesus or any Arab Jesus. The main false Christ you know of is Caucasian. So he's referring to Edom. Read again.
For if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus.
Another Jesus. Go ahead. So with this other Jesus comes another doctrine. Watch this.
Whom we have not preached.
The one that we preach is the one that's black according to the Bible. Woolly hair, feet of brass, hair of wool. That's not preaching the Christianity these days. And if it is preached, they still pushing the doctrine of white Christ regardless. Go ahead.
Or if you receive another spirit.
Another spirit goes into the doctrine behind it, the vibration behind it. Men, you can come as you are, stay as you are. That's another spirit. That ain't of the Lord. That's of the devil. Go ahead.
Which ye have not received.
Which is not the Bible. Go ahead.
Or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him.
Bear with him means correct him. Now, another gospel. Let's key on the gospel, the different gospel. The new gospel, that's contrary to the disciples, would be Easter, Sunday worship, the Trinity, virgin birth, Christmas, and the Immaculate Conception. Those go in conjunction with another gospel. It's not of the Bible. It's not of the Lord. It's paganism all over again, masked with the Bible. That's all it is. Now, let's get John 21, verse 18.
The book of John, chapter 21, verse 18. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself,
Hold on, sorry. Go to verse 17.
Verse 17. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonah, lovest thou me?
Because when Simon Peter rejected Christ 3 times, Christ said he was going to prophesy, he was going to reject him, he was going to deny him 3 times. So the Christ, in return, asked Peter, do you love me 3 times? Go ahead.
Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time.
Because like Peter denied him 3 times, Christ is asking him 3 times, do you love me? Go ahead.
Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Jesus saith unto him, feed my sheep.
Meaning teach the children of Israel, feed my sheep. Go ahead.
Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself.
You were young, you dressed yourself up. Go ahead.
And walkest whither thou wouldest.
And went wherever you want to go. Go ahead.
But when thou shalt be old,
you're going to grow old.
Thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee.
Someone else will dress you.
And carry thee whither thou wouldest not.
And take you where you don't want to go. Go ahead.
Then spake he, signifying by what death he should glorify God.
So Christ is telling Peter, you're going to be killed. You're going to get old, and someone's going to take you where you don't want to go to kill you. That's what he's saying to Peter. Go ahead.
And when he had spoken this, he saith unto him, follow me.
But before that takes place, follow me, feed my sheep. That's what he's telling him. Now let's get 2 Peter 1:13, because Peter understood this later on when he got old and became an elder himself. 2 Peter 1:13.
2 Peter chapter 1, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yea, I think it meet, as long as I am in this tabernacle,
This body,
to stir you up by putting you in remembrance, knowing that shortly I must put off this my tabernacle,
I must die.
even as our Lord Jesus Christ hath showed me.
He showed him that back in John 21. Someone's going to take you, you're going to get old, and someone's going to take you somewhere else, they're going to put you to death. Go ahead.
Moreover, I will endeavor that ye may be able after my decease.
So he's letting you know what that means. To put up a tabernacle means to decease, to die. After my death, go ahead.
To have these things always in remembrance.
The things in remembrance is the whole 1 Peter and 2 Peter is what he's going into. All his letters. Keep them in remembrance while I'm gone. All right? So Peter was put to death. We're going to find out about who later on. Let's get John 20. Go back there again. We're going to read John 21 again, verse 20.
John 21, verse 20. Then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciple whom Jesus loved, following, which also leaned on his breast at supper.
He was always close to Christ, always next to him. Go ahead.
And said, Lord, which is he that betrayeth
So
thee?
he asked him 2 questions. Which one of us is it that's going to betray you? Go ahead.
Peter, seeing him, saith to Jesus, Lord, and what shall this man do?
Then he goes, hey, and the guy that you so love, what's he going to do? Go ahead.
Jesus saith unto him, if I will that he tarry till I come,
If I want that he waits until I return. Go ahead.
what is that to thee?
What's that got to do with you, Peter? His situation's different from yours. Go ahead.
Follow thou me.
You follow me. What about John? What about you? You follow me. All right? Read on.
Then went this saying abroad among the brethren, that the disciples should not die. Yet
So they all understood that John wasn't going to die. Go ahead.
Yet Jesus said not unto him, he shall not
So
die.
they assumed Christ meant he wasn't going to die. But that's not what Christ had said to them. But they all assumed, based on that saying, John wasn't going to die. Go ahead.
But if I will that he tarry till I come, what is it that to thee?
Go ahead.
This is the disciple which testifieth of these things.
I am that disciple that Peter asked about, that Christ loved. It's talking about me. So John's telling you who he's talking about, himself. Go ahead.
And wrote these things, and we know that his testimony is true.
Go ahead.
And there are also many other things which Jesus did, the which, if they should be written every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that should be written. Amen.
So there's a lot of editing they had to do. Christ did so many things that couldn't fit it in one book. So they wrote down what was necessary to prove he was the Messiah. But he did far more greater works than we can imagine that they couldn't fit in this book. So now let's get Revelations 1 and verse 9. Regarding John. The same John that wrote Revelations. It's the same John that wrote John, the Gospel of John. Same one. Revelations 1.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 9. I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Jesus Christ, was in the isle that is called Patmos for the word of God and for the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Read again.
I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Jesus Christ, was in the isle that is called Patmos for the word of God and for the testimony of Jesus Christ.
So he was banished to the island of Patmos under the emperor Titus's brother Domitian. This is around 96 AD, between 96 AD and 100 AD. You had King Caesar Domitian, who banished him for teaching treason, because he was preaching another kingdom while Rome was already in rulership. He was preaching the kingdom of God while Rome was still ruling. That was considered to be treason, and he was banished to the island of Patmos. Give me the link I sent you about John of Patmos. This is common. This is not a mystery. This is not fable. This is actually historical. It's called John of Patmos. Use that for now. John of Patmos, John the Revelator, John the Divine, or John the Theologian is the name given to the author of the book of Revelation, the apocalyptic text forming the final chapter of the New Testament. The text of Revelation states that the author is called John and that he lives in the Greek island of Patmos, whereby some he is considered to be in exile as a result of anti-Christian persecution under the Roman Emperor Domitian. Because the Romans after the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD, the Romans start to hammer down on us harder. Because when Christ prophesied of the Rome besieging Jerusalem and it came to pass, the doctrine of Christ began to spread even stronger, got more strength, because what Christ said was true. So people more began to believe. So once that took place, the Romans felt threatened and started coming down harder on Christians. All right? Traditionally, the writer of Revelation is widely considered to be the Apostle John, who was also seen as the author of the Gospel of John. So most people understand that John the Revelator and the John that wrote the Gospel of John is the same person. Go down. Go to, yeah. Well, not that one. I want that one. Go down. On to Patmos. Here we go. It says, John is considered to be exiled to Patmos, undergoing a time of persecution under the Roman rule of Domitian. Revelations 1 and 9, we read that earlier. Go down. Early tradition says that John was banished to Patmos by the Roman authorities. This tradition is credible because banishment was a common punishment used during the imperial period for a number of offenses. Among such offenses were the practices of magic and astrology. Prophecy was viewed by the Romans as belonging to the same category, meaning the same. They call prophesying magic and astrology. Whether pagan, Jewish, or Christian, they called it magic or astrology. It was outlawed. Prophecy with political implications, meaning Rome falling, that's what Revelation is about, Rome falling, like that expressed by John in the book of Revelation, would have been perceived as a threat to Roman political power and order. Three of the islands and the Sporades were places where political offenders were banished. Be mindful, that may happen again in modern time, because they're preaching the exact same thing that he was doing. And America is an extension of that same empire, teaching the exact same thing. So, we read earlier, Peter was killed. John was banished to the island of Patmos. Now we're going to let's go 2 Timothy 4 and 7. 2 Timothy 4 and 7. We'll read about Paul now. These little conferences they're having, is preparation. It's an attack. That's why I want your brothers to be sharp and study. Sisters also, because these Christianityites, okay, are going to come with all kinds of nonsense and ways to defame us and put us in the same political offense as Domitian put John the Revelator in. The same exact thing. 2 Timothy, because they saw, I mentioned earlier, that once Jerusalem was besieged in 70 AD, like Christ prophesied way before, the Christian faith or the real Christian faith back then was strengthened because his prophecies came to pass. Remember, the disciples taught after him. After he left and gone, they kept pushing. Rome was going to attack us. Rome was going to attack us. So people didn't believe them. So when it happened, they said, damn, the disciples are right all this time. And they grew in the thousands. So Rome had to come down on them hard. So right today, you're seeing celebrities waking up. Lord's Lord, they mean that way, waking up, bringing awareness to the people, to millions that were the Israelites. So right now, we're entering the phase of the Israelite movement, the real Christian movement of the Israelites being a threat once again. That's what these conferences are about. You're living prophecy all over again. Be proud you're in these times and you're aware of it. 2 Timothy 4, verse 7.
For I am now ready to be, verse 7.
Mm-hmm. No, read verse 6. 6 is fine.
Verse 6. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand.
So what's Paul saying here? I'm going to die. He's going to die. Go ahead. So,
I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith.
Oftentimes in history, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, there's a certain spirit that comes over you when you know death is coming. It's looming over you. It's the feeling you get when you know, yes, I'm leaving soon. I can't describe it. Lord's will, I hopefully don't. But there's a time when me possibly be realized, you know what? They're going to kill me tomorrow. Malcolm X knew. Martin Luther King knew. Who else? Biggie. Rappers, but they knew. A lot of these people, they always have a feeling. It's like a weird feeling, a spirit over you, where you know something is wrong, and you're not going to survive it. It's something that happens, okay? But Peter, as he was told he was going to die by Christ himself, but Paul knew, yeah, it's a wrap. It's time for me to go. He felt it. Nat Turner also, he knew, okay, it's time. It's a wrap. Go ahead.
I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith.
I did my job. Go ahead.
Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing.
That keep his commandments. Go ahead.
Do thy diligence to come shortly unto me, for Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present world.
So a follower of Christ, fellow soldier of Paul, he went back into the road. He fell off. So you're going to see that also as we approach these last days. Brothers are going to fall off, and they're going to turn against you. You're seeing it. And they're siding with the devil at the same time. They've forsaken the truth and went back into the present world. Read again.
For Demas hath forsaken me.
Go ahead.
Having loved this present world.
When people leave here and start saying, I used to be an Israelite, they love the present world. They love the present world. That's Cypher from the Matrix. That's Cypher. That's what that is. I don't want that pill. I want to forget everything. I want to be an actor. Wipe my mind clean. I want to forget everything. I want to be somebody special. It's the same thing. Go ahead.
And is departed unto Thessalonica.
Right back into the world. Go ahead.
Crescens to Galatia.
Crescens returned to Galatia.
Titus unto Dalmatia.
Titus. Same Titus in the book of Titus went off. Titus was a bishop. And before he became a bishop, his job was to set up bishops throughout the churches. Fell off. He was a Paul for years. Fell off. Go ahead.
Only Luke is with me.
That's who wrote Acts. He was always a Paul. Go ahead.
Take Mark and bring him with thee, for he is profitable to me for the ministry.
Go ahead.
And Tychicus have I sent to Ephesus.
Yeah.
The cloak that I left at Troas with Carpus, when thou comest, bring with thee and the books. Bring with thee and the books, but especially the parchments.
Bring books and bring the paper, because he wanted to have them write, because he was in jail. He said, okay, have them. You can basically have visitation rights. Brothers will come there, he'll speak, and they'll write down what he said. And oftentimes you'll read letter from Timothy by Paul to so-and-so. You read the bottom of the letter, it says it. But they'll write things. He would say it, and they'll write it down. And then they'll spread it, they'll publish it. Read on. So he said, bring the books and bring the paper. Go ahead.
The cloak, Alexander, the coppersmith.
Jump to verse 18.
Verse 18, and the Lord shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom.
He realized that at the end because he was going to die. Go ahead.
to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen.
Now, some of your Bibles have it, some don't. Read the bottom of yours. You have it in the bottom, the last statement in the bottom after the chapter ends.
No, sir.
There's a statement. You don't have it?
No. It says
Who
here.
has it? Yeah, bring it. Read that.
Let me see. Yeah, let me see.
This
Where
is the
you at?
second epistle unto Timotheus.
Yep, y'all gave me the wrong book. Timothy. Give me the book.
The second Timothy, same thing.
Uh-huh.
But it's the end of it, the bottom end.
It says, the second epistle unto Timotheus.
So this is what he wrote to Timothy. He wrote this to Timotheus, or Timothy is the same person. He wrote this second letter to Timothy. Go ahead.
Ordained the first bishop of the church of the Ephesians.
So Timothy he was a young man. Paul knew him since he was a kid. He became an elder over the church of the Ephesians. Okay, he grew up to become an elder. Go ahead.
Was written from Rome.
Because he was in prison at Rome. Go ahead.
When Paul was brought before Nero the second time.
The second time. When Paul was brought before Nero, because he knew the second time is the last time. He's going to kill me. And Nero killed Paul. And he killed Peter too. I'm going to show you that also. Y'all, I believe you obviously y'all went to Rome. You went down there. And there's a spot where you went and they crucified Peter and his wife upside down. Him and his wife. And they have a spot sectioned off where they remember it. Because it's Rome, they know. He didn't know what they did. Huh? At the Vatican, right. And yet people are Roman Catholics. It baffles me how that is. Let's get Acts 12:1. So Peter was killed, Paul was killed, and John was banished. Acts 12:1.
The book of Acts, chapter 12, verse 1. Now about that time, Herod the king stretched...
Now, hold on now. Herod was an Idumean, as well as the Romans were also Idumeans. But he was called a Roman affiliate. All right? A Roman affiliate. So he's a Roman also. But a Roman affiliate. Read again.
Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church.
Of the apostles. Go ahead.
And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword.
So Herod had James, one of the disciples, killed. So now you have James, and you have Peter, and Paul were killed. All right, not in that same order, but you get my point. These were killed. They were killed. All right? And this, read on, next verse 3. Watch this.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews.
Because you had wicked Israelites, black Hebrew Israelites, elders, that were happy to know that Herod had killed one of their brothers because of what they were teaching. Leave it there. I'll come back to that later. Let's go to Roman Emperors, the book I have. This book right here is called The Roman Emperors by Michael Grant. Okay? The Roman Emperors. I know he's still going to mess around and put this book out of print now. Now we brought it out. Or he's going to revise it, or it's going to be out of print, or it's going to end up fading somewhere or whatever. It's called The Roman Emperors, a biographical guide to the rulers of Imperial Rome from 31 BC to AD 476. So it's pretty much all the emperors. From the ancient Rome to Byzantine Empire Rome. The biographical guide, the Roman emperors. We want a page. You want page. What page I want? Page 38. Page 38. All right. Nevertheless, the situation at Rome was taking a turn for the worse. A crucial event was the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD, which deprived numerous families of their homes and caused widespread discontent. According to famous passages of Tacitus, Nero tried to pin the blame for the conflagration on the city's small Christian community. So, let me read. I'll read it. Regarded as a dissident group of Jews, that's Israelites, were Christians, and burnt many of them alive. Now, understand what Nero did was, there was a Colosseum. Nero would take our people, put them on the Colosseum, light them on fire around the Colosseum, so it'll be lighting. That's why Yankee Stadium has the lights all around it. And they have a thing called Nero software. It's burning CD software called Nero. Because he would burn Israelites alive on the Colosseum as lights to light up the stage, light up the arena. That's what he did to us. Us. Yes. Conflagration. Look it up. Look up conflagration. See what that means. I bypassed it. I'm sorry. You're right. Conflagration. I don't know what it means. Let's move on to something else. I understand. Conflagration. A great fire? Thank you. So, regarded as a dissident group of Jews, and burnt many of them alive, the martyrdoms. No, I missed it. According to a famous passage of Tacitus, Nero tried to pin the blame for the great fire on the city's small Christian community. So he blamed this great fire on the Christian Israelites, Christian Jews, and burnt them alive. The martyrdoms of Saint Peter and Saint Paul were ascribed to these persecutions. So he killed Peter and he killed Paul the second time. Okay? That's who took Peter when he got old, where he wouldn't want to go, crucified him upside down with his wife, and I believe he beheaded Paul. He had Paul beheaded, took his head off. So these are your friendly neighborhood white man, as the elder says. That's what they do.
Hey, and what's heavy in that right there, right, is that it says that there was a fire in Rome. Mm-hmm. And they used that, Nero, he used that fire to do what? To persecute the church, to persecute Israel. You all got to realize it's the same thing they're going to try to pull today, man. You understand? Because you know the scripture said that we got to be blameless, right? And we got to walk blameless and so forth. But guess what? Guess what they label us as? They label us as black, militant, hate group. You understand? Radical. You know, so they put all these labels on us. So now if something happened now, they could say, oh, they could pass the blame on us. And say, it's these guys that did that. Yep. You know, these guys, they did that terrorist activity or whatever and tried to put some kind of blame on us. You understand? How the mic song like that? Yeah, man. So the same thing that happened back then is the same thing that could happen today.
Yep. Now watch this. It's still the rumor persisted. So even after he blamed the Christians for the fire, watch this. The rumor persisted not only that the ruler had sung his own poem, The Sack of Troy, not fiddled as the convention has it, while enjoying the spectacle of the flames, but also that he had actually started the fire himself in order to be able to annex some land he wanted for the erection of his golden house. So he started the fire himself and laughed at the fire, he said, he laughed at how good I did, then blamed us for it. This is Edom. This is what Edom does. Start stuff and put it on somebody else. Blame them. Yes. Right, the Bronx fires in the 70s, exactly. So he went and caused a fire so that he can have some room to build his golden house, erect some golden house. And the fire went, I guess, crazy. He said, okay, well, I'll blame the Jews for it. Then he killed us in the process. Let's go to the origins of Christianity. Wikipedia, origins of Christianity. As I said before, it didn't start, modern Christianity did not start with the white man. It started from somewhere else. Somewhere far more ancient before them. We're going to read into, hold on. We're going to read into Jewish Christians. We'll stop there.
Origins of Christianity. Early Christianity and early rabbinical Judaism were significantly influenced by Hellenistic religion.
Stop. Read it again.
Early Christianity and early rabbinical Judaism were significantly influenced by Hellenistic religion.
Now I want you to click early Christianity real quick. Click that. Click early Christianity. Read that.
Early Christianity is the period of Christianity preceding the First Council of Nicaea.
Because you have people that say that Christ was created during the Council of Nicaea. No. It says Christianity before the Council of Nicaea. So Council of Nicaea did not create Christ. That's retarded. You're going to hear ignorant black folks say that. Oh, the Council of Nicaea, Christ came from that. No, he didn't. They're believing in Christ. John wrote Revelations in 100 AD. How in the hell did they create Christ when he was speaking about Christ long before that? It's nonsense. Well, go ahead.
It is typically divided into the apostolic age, and the ante-Nicene period from the apostolic age until Nicaea.
The apostolic age is the age of the apostles, the 12 apostles. We're gonna stop the Jewish Christians here.
The first Christians, as described in the first chapters of the Acts of the Apostles, were all Jews, either by birth or conversion.
That's a lie. That's not true at all, but go ahead.
For which the biblical term proselyte is used and referred to by historians as Jewish Christians.
Now, so referred to by historians as Jewish Christians. Now it says they were either Jews based upon birth or conversion. They were by birth and conversion, not or, it's and. Click Jewish Christians, please. Click Jewish Christians, yep. Read that, please.
Jewish Christians, also Hebrew Christians, or
Also what?
Hebrew Christians,
So it's not by conversion. Cannot convert into a Hebrew. Go ahead.
or Judeo-Christians,
Watch this.
were the original members of the Jewish movement that later became Christianity.
So the original members of the Christian faith were all Jews. By birth and conversion, it's the same thing. It converted out of the Greek customs into the Jew customs. They were Israelites, period. Go ahead.
In the earliest stage, the community was made up of all those Jews who accepted Jesus as a venerable person or the Messiah, Christ.
Watch this.
As Christianity grew and developed, Jewish Christians became only one strand of the early Christian community, characterized by combining the confession of Jesus as Christ.
Now, hold on. Read this slower. The early Christian community characterized by combining the confession that Jesus was Christ, they believed in Christ. Watch this. With the what?
With continued adherence.
Stop. With continued adherence or observance. Watch this.
To Jewish traditions such as Sabbath observance, observance of the Jewish calendar,
Feast days,
observance of Jewish laws
laws of Moses and the prophets,
and customs, circumcision and synagogue attendance, and by a direct genetic relationship to the earliest Jewish Christians.
Read the bottom again.
And by a direct genetic relationship to the earliest Jewish Christians.
That's how you know they were Jews by descent, not by conversion. Don't fall for the semantics. But they were teaching the laws. I want y'all to focus. It says combining the confession of Christ and continued adherence to Jewish traditions such as Sabbath observance, not Sunday worship, Sabbath observance. Observance of the Jewish calendar, which means there's no Sunday involved in that. Observance of Jewish laws and customs, circumcision, synagogue attendance, which is every Sabbath day, and by a direct genetic relationship to the earliest Jewish Christians. So the Israelites, Christians, the real Jewish Christians were Israelites by genetics, by lineage. Y'all follow? They follow Christ and they adhere to the laws and commandments. When Christ was dead and gone and resurrected, they still adhered to the traditions of Moses and so forth. In other words, they kept the laws. They were pushing the laws, keeping the laws, while having faith in Christ. Now, let's go back. Just go to Acts 1. Go back to early Christianity again. Right there, stay there. Go to Acts 1:13.
The book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 13. And when they were come in, they went up into an upper room, where abode both Peter and James, and John and Andrew, Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew and Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon Zelotes, and Judas, the brother of James.
So that's the 11. Jump down to verse 26.
These all continued with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women and Mary.
No, verse 26.
Verse 26.
It's when they were replacing, Judas died, he killed himself, they were replacing him to make it 12 again. Go ahead.
And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles.
He's number 12. So it became 12 all over again. Matthias is number 12. So this is referred to as the apostolic age. These are the early Christians here, the Jewish Christians. Y'all follow? By genetic lineage, not conversion, but by birth. All right? Those are the real, true Christians. Okay, the originators. Let's get Acts 11:26.
The book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 26. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
So the first time they were called Christians or referred to as Christians is in Antioch. Antioch is located in modern-day Turkey. That's where Paul was also born. Okay, Turkey, modern-day Turkey. Follow? All right. So they were first called Christians at Antioch. That's where the doctrine that they were followers of Christ spread. Antioch. So now, not Africa, not Arabia, Turkey. Now let's get John 20, verse 19. So we read earlier that the Jewish Christians, or the early Christians, the real ones, adhered to what? The traditions of what? Moses, the prophets, circumcision, the Jewish calendar, and so forth. They maintained the law while having faith in Christ. Circumcision, synagogue observance, they maintained the law while having faith in Christ. That didn't change.
The book of John, chapter 20, verse 19. Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews.
The Jews was referring to the religious elders who were trying to kill them. Okay, had them put to death. All right, so for fear of the Jews, they dwelt in this area. Read again.
Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews.
So they assembled here for fear of the Jews, the evening of the first day of the week. Not for some of Sunday worship. They assembled there that night and stayed there because of fear of the Jews. Go ahead.
Came Jesus and stood in the midst and saith unto them, Peace be unto you.
Because he rose the day before. He rose Saturday evening. All right? And he showed himself that morning, early that morning, to the sister, to Mary. And she came and told them, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And then eventually they all went and hid among themselves and discussed these things. And Christ appeared unto them the same night. All right? This is the first day of the week. He appeared unto them when he had rose the day before. Now, let's get Acts 20, verse 7 to 8. So they're not worshiping Sunday as a day of worship. This is fear of the Jews. It was the fear of the Jews. Not some new law of observing the Sabbath on a Sunday. That's madness.
Acts chapter 20, verse 7. And upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them ready to depart on the morrow.
So Paul was going to leave and go somewhere else. Go ahead.
And continued his speech until midnight.
So they all met up that day to see Paul off. Not for Sunday worship. Paul was going to leave the next day. So they all came together to see him off. Y'all understand? There's no law saying, yeah, Sunday from now on. It's not in the Bible. It's not in there. So where does this Sunday worship come from? Something far more ancient than the white man. Far more. We'll get to that later. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 16, verse 1. 1 Corinthians 16, verse 1.
1 Corinthians 16 and 1. Now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given order to the churches of Galatia, even so do ye.
Or that all the churches gather money together to help the other churches work together as one. Go ahead.
Upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store, as God hath prospered him, that there be no gatherings when I come.
So have the money prepared for me to come collect it the first day of the week. This is not Sunday worship. This is money being collected. They use these scriptures, I don't know why they use them for. It's ridiculous. Matthew 5:17. We read this in Wikipedia earlier about them adhering to the laws. Matthew 5 and 17.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Read again.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
So he didn't come to destroy the law. Go ahead.
Or the prophets.
Know what the prophets say. Go ahead.
I am not come to
Come to
destroy,
destroy it. Go ahead.
but to fulfill.
But to fulfill what's written of him regarding his sacrifice spoken of by all the prophets before him. From the time of Moses all the way down. That's he came to fulfill his duty to be sacrificed, to be killed for the nation. That's what he fulfilled. Y'all understand? The law and the prophets remain in effect. With the exception of what? Animal sacrifice. This is 12 and 8. Same book. Chapter 12, verse 8.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 8. For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day.
So he's the Lord of the Sabbath day. That's not Sunday. He is the Lord of the Sabbath day. He visited John the Revelator on the Lord's day. That's the Sabbath day. So where do you get Sunday from? Paganism. That's where it comes from. Sunday worship. Go back to origin of Christianity again. Read again.
Origins of Christianity. Early Christianity and early rabbinical Judaism was significantly influenced by Hellenistic religion and Hellenistic philosophy. Christianity, in particular, inherited many features of Greco-Roman paganism in its structure, its terminology, its cult, and its theology.
It's cult and its theology. So many features, as Christianity in particular inherited many features of Greco-Roman paganism in its structure and its terminology, its cult, and its theology. But it says here Hellenistic religion and Hellenistic philosophy. That goes into all nations being saved, all nations coming together as one. We're all one in Christ Jesus, neither Jew nor Greek nor Gentile. They use that to influence Hellenistic religions and philosophies. It's the same exact thing. Jump down, go down to click Hellenistic religion. Click that.
Hellenistic religion is any of the various systems of beliefs and practices of the people who lived under the influence of ancient Greek culture during the Hellenistic period and the Roman Empire.
Because when the Romans conquered the Greeks, the two empires merged into one because they're both the same people. The Romans adopted the language and the religious customs of Greece, but maintained their political order. They maintained their political side, but the religious side, the philosophical side, the language part, they merged that into themselves. So a lot of Romans spoke Greek. A lot of Romans spoke the Greek language. Read again at the top.
Hellenistic religion is any of the various systems of beliefs and practices of the people who lived under the influence of ancient Greek culture.
It was just everywhere. Go ahead.
During the Hellenistic period and the Roman Empire.
So during the Greek period and the Roman Empire, the Hellenistic religion was being pushed. We're going to get that soon. Go ahead.
From 300 BCE to 300 CE.
300 AD, current era. Go ahead.
There was much continuity in Hellenistic religion. The Greek gods continued to be worshipped.
So the Romans, along with the Greeks themselves, still worship Greek gods, but the Romans gave them, Latinized their names. They worship the same exact gods, but Latinized or changed the names of the gods from the Greeks. But it's the same exact gods, different names. Go ahead.
The Greek gods continued to be worshipped, and the same rites
customs
were practiced as before.
Exactly. So now, let's get Zondervan Dictionary about Hellenists. So when you fall under the Hellenistic religion or the Greek culture, read it please, you become a Hellenist.
Hellenist. Jews who make Greek their tongue, and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices.
Same as that thing, worship their gods, their language, their culture, their same thing, their fashion, how they dress, their language, all the above. So they were either in the New Testament referred to as Grecians, or they were referred to as Greeks, or they were referred to as Gentiles in the New Testament who Paul was writing to. Gentile, Greek, or Grecian. Mostly it is referring to Grecian. Acts 6:1, 9:29 is referring to Grecian, but also Greek or Gentile. Heathen also, but I want to deal with this Greek for now. Greek, Gentile, or Grecian. Now, let's get 1 Maccabees 1. We're going to read what Hellenism is. And if it's a religion. 1 Maccabees 1, verse 41. This is regarding Antiochus or Antiochus, who forcefully pushed this Hellenistic religion, which started with Alexander the Great, who died early and passed the mantle to his 4 generals. Okay, and Antiochus came out of one of them. Hold on, let me get it. 1 Maccabees 1, verse 41. Antiochus, who came out of the 4 generals of Alexander, forced Hellenism on the people, on our people. Now, all nations were affected by Hellenism, but he targeted our people. He wanted to make certain that the Jews specifically were subjected to that religion. Read that.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41.
Because you have to ask yourself, even now, why are the Israelites, if we're a cult and we're talking madness and we're crazy, why is such attention being brought to us? Why? We're insignificant Negroes wearing funny clothes with a mic and a Bible. Why are you talking about us? Why are you holding a 3-day conference about us? Because we're a problem. Because we're spreading. When we're speaking this truth, and you don't want to spread. So you figure you're going to try to stop it while it's still early. It's too late already. It's a wrap. You done. You finished. But we're reading the same exact thing in the past. It's happening now. First Maccabees 1, verse 41.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Read it again.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
That is Hellenism. That is also democracy. Democracy, write this down. Democracy was born in Greece. It came out of Athens. Athens, Greece. That's where democracy comes from. Okay? Democracy is a Greek philosophy in America, in the American Empire. America is an empire. I don't know if you know this. That's why they call New York the Empire State. Because New York is a city located in an empire. You understand? You look up, why is New York called the Empire State? No one knows. It's up in the air. Google it. Just read for yourself. We don't know. Maybe this, maybe that. It's because it's an empire.
How did New York get its famous nickname, the Empire State?
Most signs commonly point to George Washington. Although a number of unsubstantiated stories exist, perhaps the best documented case is a 1785 letter he wrote to the New York Common Council. The Common Council had previously bestowed upon him the freedom of the city of New York. In the letter, George Washington thanks the citizens of New York for their resilience during the Revolution, and he refers to New York State as, quote, seat of the empire.
America, or Babylon the Great, is the extension of the Greco-Roman Empire. And with an empire requires what? Emperors. And emperors come from a particular nation of people to rule, because it's a lineage that passes down through emperors. You understand? Which would be Edomites. As is the Romans, as they are today, called Americans or British or Portuguese. It's all the same people. Because American whites are really British whites. It's the same people. All right? So read again.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
It should be Hellenism or democracy, go ahead, or Christianity, go ahead.
And everyone shall leave his laws.
Christianity teaches what? That the laws are what? That the laws are done away with. All you got to do is believe in the name of white Jesus and all be good. You can come as you are and stay as you are. Because in the Greco-Roman Empire, in the Greek Empire, Alexander the Great was a well-known flaming homosexual. They say he was very effeminate. He can kick you behind, though. But he was very, very effeminate. And he was the one that advocated the clean-shaven look. He pushed that vibe because he got that from the Egyptians. Because the Greeks borrowed from the Egyptians. The Romans borrowed from the Egyptians and the Greeks. Because Esau has no culture of his own. He borrows others. He's not innovative. He has no creativity whatsoever. He steals and says it's mine. That's what he does. Read on.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
That's why Christianity, New Age Hellenism, is found in every country on the planet. You have crazy Muslims, you got Christians among them. Crazy Buddhists, you got Christians among them. You have Hinduism, Christians are among them. Taoism, whatever, Christians are among them. Muslims, Christians are among them. Modern Christianity is everywhere because the heathen consent to it as they did back then. They do so today. Go ahead.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
To his what?
To his religion.
To his what?
To his religion.
It's a religion. Hellenism is a religion. Go ahead.
And sacrifice unto idols.
That goes back to those Greek gods we read about earlier. They worship Greek gods. Go ahead.
And profaned the Sabbath.
In turn, what's the Christianity push the Sabbath to now? Sunday. Sunday. Worshipping the sun. Go ahead.
For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
Go ahead.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days.
Don't keep Passover no more. Keep Easter. Don't keep Hanukkah no more. Keep Christmas. It's the same thing all over again. Go ahead.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
And do what?
And pollute the holy people.
To pollute the holy people. That's the whole premise of Christianity, is to pollute. The target is our people. The other nations, I'm going to give you an example. When the so-called white man came into the world and pushed Christianity, right? You have Christianity among the Chinese. He didn't tell the Chinese, from now on, you're no longer Chinese. You're a Christian now. It doesn't matter what your nationality is. You're a Christian. The Chinese are Christians and maintain that they're Chinese. East India. They didn't say to East Indians, yeah, you're no longer Persians anymore, no longer Indian, you're Christian, you're in Christians now. Denounce that stuff. No, they're still maintaining that they're Christians. I mean, that they're Elam or that they're Iranians. They maintain their culture, their knowledge of self. But when it came to the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, no, you're Africans. No, you came from the Bering Strait. You're a Christian. All that matters, your nationality doesn't matter. Your nationality doesn't matter. What matters is that you believe in Jesus. Why wasn't that spread to all the other nations? Why? Because they knew that our identity mattered. And they know that today it still matters. That's what these conferences are all about. Because when you ask them, well, okay, well, we're not Israelites then, we're a cult, we're crazy. Who are we? You're a child of God. Which one? Doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because they know that's the whole point, is to keep you dumb and stupid, keep you a Negro in the slave mind. That's their purpose. Love white Jesus, remain a Negro, keep this place going. That's what Christianity is. We continue? You're going to read the verse
Set
50.
up altars and groves.
Those are churches. Set up altars and groves. Those are churches. Go ahead.
Chapels of idols.
That goes into your Catholic church. Chapels of idols.
And sacrifice swine's flesh.
You got Israelites that left out of here. Now they're saying nothing wrong with eating pork. Nothing wrong with eating pork. Went from being the producer to non-productive. Madness. Madness. Read it again.
And sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
When the Most High says that pork and these things are unclean, there's a reason behind it. Animal itself is not to be consumed. It's not good for you. That's why when you read the law, he says, eat this animal, it divide the hoof, and it cheweth the cud. Because they have two stomachs. They eat it in, they vomit it out, and they eat it again, and they're clean. Pigs don't do that. Pigs don't even sweat. They eat everything. Don't eat that because they eat everything. Don't eat shrimp. They eat their bottom feeders. Fish take a dump. They feed up the dump. They keep the ocean sea. They call them bottom feeders scavengers. They eat the waste. Pigs eat the waste. They're the natural sanitation of the earth. Catfish, all of that. So he says, don't eat that because what they eat is not good for your body. Negro said, the non-productive says, no, there's nothing wrong with it. God just said don't do it. But why did he say don't do it? He's telling you in the law, they chew up the cud. This animal doesn't. Don't eat that animal. Because it's not healthy, dumbass. Excuse my language. I just don't like ignorant Negroes, man. Piss me off.
It's a kind of worm that's in a pig. I think it's called a tapeworm or something
sir.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah, when you eat the pig, that worm, it go in your stomach and it mess you up, man. So, the most I know why he gave us some food to eat and some food not to eat,
Dumbass is in the Bible, by the way. Don't get mad at me. I'm sorry. You'll send me letters now. I'm cursing. Read 48.
That they should also leave their children
They
uncircumcised.
should also leave their children uncircumcised. Why? Because the Greeks practiced uncircumcision. Go ahead.
And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
This is the point. Watch this.
To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
That's the purpose of Hellenism and Christianity, is to make Israel forget the law, make our souls abominable with all uncleanness and profanation. You forget the law and the ordinances, you forget who you are. Because our laws make us who we are. Peculiar people, special people. We have special laws and commandments given to us. Only given to us by the Most High, who is our only God. So by saying, don't keep those laws no more, we forsake that only God and serve their gods instead, which tell you don't keep no laws. It all ties in together. It's a plot, it's a ploy to keep us in the slave mind and keep this captivity going on forever and ever and ever. Which is not going to happen, but that's their point, to slow things down. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what's heavy, what we just read in Maccabees, right? Guess what? All nations was there. The proclamation just went out to Israel, as Deacon Item brought out. It went out to all nations. But they focus in on us to make sure that we forget our laws, that we forget our God and forget all the ordinances. You understand? You'll see how heavy that is, right? They forget about all the nation because that proclamation went out throughout his whole kingdom. You understand? But they zone in on the Israelite to make sure that we are the ones that really target and that we the ones that really forget who we are and so forth. Because the Chinese and them, all other nations was taking part in the king customs and so forth. You know what I mean? But they didn't make it a point to make them forget who they are and all of that. That's what they do to us. That's what they did to us. You know, so that's heavy right there, man. You know, that's heavy right there. So you all gotta, everything Esau do, when you see he setting his things up, he always have a big plan behind it. He don't just do things coincidentally. That's what you all gotta understand.
Go back to Hellenistic religion again, Hellenistic religion. Go back to that again.
Did you want to read verse 50, Deacon?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Verse 50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
So that was to condition us, to scare us into not going back to our laws anymore. That's the slavery again. So that fear, that threat of you'll die if you don't do this, passed on from generation to generation to the time of Paul, when the children of those people who were forced to do that did it naturally, on their own, without being forced to do it. Go back to Hellenistic religion right there. Go down to change came from. We're going to stop it as a God. Change came from the addition.
Change came from the addition of new religions from other countries.
Because the Greeks, along with the Romans, would encounter other cultures, and they would merge them into themselves to get stronger. Watch.
Including the Egyptian deities.
So the Greeks, as well as the Romans, adopted Egyptian gods into their pantheon of gods and whitewashed them first, then gave them Greek and Latin names. Go ahead.
Egyptian deities, Isis and Serapis.
Isis became Astarte, and Serapis became, I can't think of his name right now, but go ahead.
And the Syrian gods of Atargatis and of Hadad.
Same gods, different names. Go ahead.
Which provided a new outlet for people seeking fulfillment in both the present life and the afterlife.
So to basically serve pagans, pretty much. Go ahead.
The worship of Hellenistic rulers was also a feature of this period.
So the worship of also worshiping the kings themselves is also part of the laws. Go ahead.
Most notably in Egypt.
Because the Egyptians were worshipped as living gods on earth. So the Greeks adopted this, and the Romans did too. Go ahead.
Where the Ptolemies.
Where the who?
The Ptolemies.
Keep that name in mind. The Ptolemies. Go ahead.
Where the Ptolemies adopted earlier pharaonic practice.
Pharaonic meaning pharaonic, Egyptian practices. Go ahead.
And established themselves as God kings.
Like Ramses did, God kings. And so Antiochus Epiphanes, God manifest on earth. Same thing. Go ahead.
Elsewhere, rulers might receive divine status without the full status of a god.
They were like called themselves demigods, half a god, like Hercules and so forth. Or Wonder Woman, as you know, or Hermes, as you know. Flash and Green Lantern and Cyborg. That's all Greek gods. All of them. Flash is Hermes, really fast. Messenger god, Hermes. Oh, I believe he's Serapis. I think he's Serapis, I believe. Or that's no, Serapis is Osiris or Ra. That's who that is. Ptolemies. Go to 2 Maccabees 6, verse 1.
2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 1.
Yep.
Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers.
Read it again.
Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God.
See this? We're talking this again. Go ahead.
And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem.
Now, 2 Maccabees is actually repeating 1 Maccabees, the reiteration of what's going on in the 1 Maccabees, but in a bit more detail. Because it was Antiochus that pushed it, that forced it on us, as well as somebody else. Go ahead.
And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius.
Jupiter Olympius goes back to the god Zeus. All right, so that is. That's Zeus. Mount Olympus, same thing. Go ahead.
And that in Paganism of Jupiter, the defender of
Put
strangers,
Zeus there too. Go ahead.
as they did desire that dwelt in the place.
Go ahead.
The coming in of this mischief
Because
was
you had Edomites dwelling in Gerizim also. Go ahead.
the coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people.
They didn't want that. Go ahead.
For the temple was filled with riot and revelings
Stop.
by the Gentiles.
That's clubbing. That's clubbing. That's your parties, sorority parties, fraternity parties, all of that. All of that go back to Greek stuff. They do all kinds of nasty initiations. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Doing certain things in cookies and making you eat it. That come out of them from the front, men. Nastiness. Some branding, all that nasty stuff. Read again.
For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles,
The Greeks, the real Greeks. Go ahead.
who dallied with harlots
Mess around with whores.
and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places.
They turned our temple into a whorehouse. That's what they were doing. Go ahead.
And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful.
Brought unclean animals into the temple, sacrificed them as well, mainly the pig. That was they honored Jupiter by offering a pig on the altar. Go ahead.
The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth.
Aside from the whores. Go ahead.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So the objective was to make certain that Israel no longer maintained being Jews. To erase our identities off the earth. That was their purpose. Read this in 1 Maccabees 1. We were the primary target of Hellenization. And Christianity is the same tool being used again. Go ahead.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Go ahead.
And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivy.
Bacchus. Now I want y'all to keep Bacchus in mind. Keep the name Bacchus in mind. Go ahead.
Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen
Go ahead. Watch this.
by the suggestion of Ptolemy
By the suggestion of Ptolemy. Go ahead.
against the Jews.
Against who?
The Jews.
Specifically, he's specifying the Jews. Go ahead.
That they should observe the same fashions
Wear their hair like us, shave, clean shaven, same fashion, dress like us, speak like us. Go ahead.
and be partakers of their sacrifices.
Eat of unclean animals, sacrifice unclean animals.
And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to
Said
death.
that earlier. Go ahead.
Then might a man have seen the present misery.
So Ptolemy pushed that nonsense on us as well. Antiochus did it. Antiochus or Antiochus pushed it, and Ptolemy pushed it as well. You understand? I follow? These are what Greek kings are doing to us, targeting us specifically. Go back to Christianity. Go back to Origins of Christianity again. Origins of Christianity. And we're going to read Christianity in particular. Go back. Click back on this right here. Yeah. Read again.
Origins of Christianity.
Yeah.
Early Christianity and early Rabbinical Judaism was significantly influenced by Hellenistic and Hellenistic philosophy. Christianity in particular inherited many features of Greco-Roman paganism in its structure, its terminology, its cult, and its theology.
This took place over time. It wasn't immediately. It took over time. It was gradual. Go ahead.
Titles such as Pontifex, Maximus,
Go ahead.
and Sol Invictus were taken directly from Roman religion.
So Pontifex Maximus and Sol Invictus were taken directly from Roman religion. Click Pontifex Maximus, please. Let's see what that is. Pontifex Maximus. Sounds powerful, right? Powerful. Pontifex Maximus. Sign Gladiator.
The word Pontifex later became a term used for Christian bishops.
The term Pontifex later on became a term used for Christian bishops. Watch this.
Including the Bishop of Rome.
Because Rome adopted Christianity into itself. When the Christian movement grew, like I mentioned earlier, 70 AD, it strengthened. Rome saw how powerful the Christian movement was. They said, well, rather than attack it, we strengthen it more. So rather than attack it, let's merge it into ourselves. So they took the Romans worshipped what the Greeks worshipped, the Egyptians worshipped, which was the sun, different gods like Ra and so forth or whatever. So the Romans took their sun worship, okay, and they merged it with Christian Judaism. And when you take sun worship and Christian Judaism, you know what you get? The Roman Catholic Church. That's what you get. And when you take moon worship and Christian Judaism along with Judaism, aside from Christian Judaism, you get Islam. But you both brought together and sold us in slavery. But that's another topic. Read it again. The word Pontifex later.
The word Pontifex later became a term used for Christian bishops, including the Bishop of Rome.
Watch this.
And the title of Pontifex Maximus was applied within the Roman Catholic Church to the Pope as its chief bishop.
See? Go ahead.
It is not included in the Pope's official titles, but appears on buildings, monuments, and coins of popes of Renaissance and modern times.
And popes of Renaissance and modern times, meaning today, in Christian churches and Catholic churches, because the Christian churches and denominations of today all derive from the Roman Catholic Church. They cannot deny it. They teach the exact same garbage. Only thing is that the Roman Church has what is called the Catechism. They have their own separate set of laws that somehow go against the Bible, called the Catechism. All right, but the Roman Empire basically became the Holy Roman Empire, which in Israel took over, but that's another topic. But basically, the Roman Empire decided to take Judaism or Christian Judaism and merge it into itself, and took paganism along with Judaism and merged them together. And that's what modern Christianity is now. It's the same exact thing. Nothing different. Y'all follow? All right. You say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because when you look at the Roman and Greek mythology, right? For instance, the mythology about heaven, about when you die, you go live up in the sky. Where do you think that come from?
They call it the Elysian Fields. You watch a Gladiator, when you saw the movie Gladiator with Maximus or Russell Crowe, when he dies, you see him going through the fields and his wife and son waiting for him in the afterlife. The gates of Olympus are open to you. Yep. That's where it comes from. Right. You die. Basically, what Esau says to you is, live joyously in hell, only to die and go to heaven and live happy up there. So keep hell here and then die and go to heaven up there. It's madness. Right. That's what Christianity is. Maintaining hell to get to heaven.
Right, so that right there is where they got that whole concept of dying and going to heaven from, the afterlife. Right. You understand? We know in the Bible it says when you die, your spirit goes back to who? The Most High. Mm-hmm. But that's Greek mythology. That's that Greek mythology that they push in Christianity today. That when you die, you're gonna go and you're gonna live up in the sky. But they didn't say no more it's with Zeus. They say it's Christ and God. Mm-hmm. You understand? And then you got, if you evil, you're going to go to hell. You're going to go in the ground with Hades. You understand that Hades is that Greek mythology.
Or Tartarus.
That they teach. You know, that's, this is what, Xena, you remember Xena? Yep. Way back in the days? And Hercules. Mm-hmm. You know?
The God of war.
Yeah, Ares. And then you got the Hades of hell. that when you die, you go down there and he torment you. All of that Christianity incorporate all of that with itself. And that's what they teach our people today in the churches. All right? That's where they got all of that from.
That's what hell is. Hades, Tartarus, Ares will get you, or Hades will get you. It's the same thing.
Right, but when the Bible used the term hell, it's just talking about the ground. You understand? That's what it's talking about. Or your condition that you in. You know, some like you could say our people catching hell, meaning the condition that we in. You know, so when the Bible uses it, it's either those both terms it's talking about.
Right.
All right?
Now go back now. Click Sol Invictus, please. That means the unconquered sun in English.
Sol Invictus, in parentheses, unconquered sun, was the official sun god of the later Roman Empire and a patron of soldiers.
So that is the deity of Rome. Rome worshipped the sun. When you take sun worship and Christian Judaism and merge them together, you get what? Roman Catholic Church. This goes back to being Pontifex Maximus. And that passed all the way down into Constantine. All up to that time, the Council of Nicaea, all of that. Because when Christianity, as the disciples were being killed, the Jewish Christians were being killed off by Rome. So the doctrinal purity of it started to get diluted. And Christianity became a philosophy. It became like a discussion. And Christianity lost its facts. So they started coming with different doctrines of what Christ was, whether he was a man, whether he was the Father, whether he was the Son. So they had what was called the Council of Nicaea to clear things up, whether to factor out whether or not he was the Son of God, God himself, a man, whatever. And the Council of Nicaea was to basically to settle things within the churches, to keep the empire stable religiously. That's what it was all about. So what it did was to keep the peace, to have pagans and Christians, or pagan Christians work together as one. Let's take a Sabbath day and make it Sunday. Let's incorporate Easter. What else they did? Easter, Sunday, and something else they did. And Christmas, and incorporate Christmas. Thank you. That's what they did to keep the peace between pagans and pagan Christians alike. And we're going to get to that soon. Go ahead. Read that.
Was the official sun god of the later Roman Empire and a patron of soldiers. In 274 AD, the Roman Emperor Aurelian made it an official cult alongside the traditional Roman cults. Scholars disagree about whether the new deity was a refoundation of the ancient Latin cult of Sol, a revival of the cult of Elagabalus, are completely new. The god was favored by emperors after Aurelian and appeared on their coins until Constantine I.
Now, I missed something. Go back to early Christianity again. I'm sorry, I missed something. I'm gonna read something to y'all. You gotta get that part out. Go back to early Christianity. Click that, early Christianity. Click that. Go down to Jewish Christians. The term Jewish Christian, click that, read that.
The term Jewish Christian appears in historical texts contrasting Christians of Jewish origin with Gentile Christians, both in discussion of the New Testament church in the second and following centuries.
Go ahead.
It is also a term used for Jews who converted to Christianity but kept their Jewish heritage and traditions.
Why? Because they were being forced out of it by Greco-Roman culture. Go down on something real quick. Read as Christianity. Read that.
As Christianity grew throughout the Gentile world, Christians diverged from their Jewish and Jerusalem roots. Jewish Christianity initially strengthened despite persecution by Jerusalem temple officials.
Regardless of Roman persecution, go ahead.
Fell into decline during the Jewish-Roman wars from 66 to 135 AD. And the growing anti-Judaism, perhaps best personified by Marcion 150.
He was a Roman, Marcion. Go ahead.
Which, with persecution by the Orthodox Christians from the time of the Roman Emperor Constantine in the 4th century, Jewish Christians sought refuge outside the boundaries of the empire.
So the real Christians sought refuge outside the empire of Rome because Rome was persecuting us. Watch this.
In Arabia and further afield.
Go ahead.
Within the empire and later elsewhere, it was dominated by the Gentile-based Christianity.
Stop. Stop. Within the empire and later elsewhere, it was dominated by the Gentile-based Christianity. That's the one that says all are one, all come together. Go ahead, we don't gonna say it. Watch.
Elsewhere, it was dominated by the Gentile-based.
So the real Christianity became dominated because they were forced away. They were in hiding. So the heathens made up their own form of Christianity, and that became dominant. And Rome adopted that. Watch.
Base Christianity, which became the state church of the Roman Empire.
Roman Catholic Church. The state church of the Roman Empire is the Roman Catholic Church. Go ahead.
And which took control of sites in the Holy Land, such as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the Cenacle, and appointed subsequent bishops of Jerusalem.
And that's when the Council of Nicaea took place. Those bishops were set up by Rome and so forth, and they were basically ideologies of Christianity, different forms. Not the main original Jewish Christianity, but Gentile-based Christianity was being pushed. You understand? Now we can go back. Go to right there. Read the theory. The theory.
The theory dating from the 12th century that the near solstice.
No. I'm sorry. Read the top again. Sol Invictus was the official sun god.
Sol Invictus was the official sun god of the latter Roman Empire and a patron of soldiers. In 274 AD, the Roman Emperor Aurelian made it an official cult alongside the traditional Roman cult.
Stop. All I want is the Roman Emperor Aurelian. Now jump down to the theory. Keep his name in mind. Keep that guy in mind. Roman Emperor Aurelian. Read that, the theory.
The theory dating from the 12th century.
1300s.
That the near solstice date of 25 December for Christmas was selected because it was the date of the Roman festival of Dies Natalis Solis Invictus.
This goes back to Saturnalia. Same thing. Go ahead.
Birthday of the unconquered sun.
Which is Baal, the devil. Go ahead.
Is challenged by some Christian scholars.
Because they want to maintain Christmas. They're arguing it, but it's true. Go ahead.
Different explanations for the date similarity are considered to be academically throughout viable hypothesis by
saying
some.
It's a guess. It's not a guess. It's true. They argue back and forth, but it's true. Because Christians are trying to maintain Christmas as being holy when it's not. It's a pagan origin. Go down.
Both theories.
No, go down. Go down. Go down. I don't want that. It's just a waste of time. The theory until. Fine. No, go back to this book again. Go to this book here. The Roman Emperors. Go here. We're going to go to page 187. Watch this. So, that Roman festival, Sol Invictus, the birthday of the unconquered sun, that's Christmas time, which Christianity once again advocates. That's the birthday of the Messiah, when it's not. Page 187. Blow it up so Liam can read it. Bring it down. This is the same book right here, Roman Emperors, page 187. All right? Go ahead.
Long been on the increase in the empire, reflecting.
Hold on a second. You cut something out. Oh, he put a page out. Hold on. Let me read it. It's a page cut out. Okay, it's page 183. It's called Aurelian, from 270 to 275. Emperor Aurelian. It says, Aurelian also introduced important religious innovations. Sun worship had, go ahead, sun worship had what?
Long been on the increase in the empire.
Sun worship had long been increased in the empire because the Romans worshiped the sun. They borrowed that from the Greeks borrowed from the Egyptians. Go ahead.
Reflecting the monotheistic ideas which now increasingly dominated pagan worship and thought.
Christianity, go ahead.
The conclusive step was now taken by Aurelian.
Marcus Aurelian, go ahead.
Who established a massive and strongly subsidized cult of the unconquerable sun, Sol Invictus.
Watch this.
Endowing the deity with a splendid temple in the capital, staffed with a new college of priests on the model of the ancient priestly colleges.
Watch this.
His birthday was to be celebrated on the 25th of December, which was eventually a bequest of the solar cult to Christianity, converted into Christmas Day.
It's a, see that? So Christianity observes a doctrine or religion of a solar cult, a sun-worshipping cult. Christmas Day is pagan once again. This goes back to Egypt, this goes back to Babylon, and so on and so forth. Now, let's go to Antichrist 666, page 26. I'm going to skim through it. You're going to be page 26 and 27. This book right here, where's it at? I don't have it. Where is it? Oh, there it goes. Now, this book here, I don't let the cover scare you. Oh, Antichrist, Damien. This is this is a book that's like a cross-reference to two Babylons. He gives a lot more references than Alexander Hislop does, so I like it better. But he references a lot of Alexander Hislop research. It's called The Antichrist 666, compiled by William Josiah Sutton. All right? And he basically goes into the history of pagan customs. This book's old. You see it's beaten up. But it's very good. It's a good read. It has a lot of bones in it. So I advise y'all to study first before you get well-versed in this book, because it'll have you confused. You'll start worshiping the devil. You lose your mind. Christ is Satan. Worship Satan now. Be careful. All right? What page have you get? Page 20. What page is this? 26.
In sun worship, two very important festivals were observed by most pagans throughout the world. They were held 2 times in the year when the sun is at its greatest distance from the celestial equator. To the astronomers, these 2 days are known as the winter and summer solstice.
Yeah.
But to the pagan sun worshiper,
Rome and Greece. Yeah.
the shortest day of the year
Page 27.
was the day the sun god was reborn, and the nativity of the sun fell on December 25th.
The day the sun god was reborn, December 25th. Go ahead.
According to legend, the sun after its birth on December 25th began to mature, and his light and heat would grow until the sun god would reach full maturity at midsummer.
Go ahead.
The ignorant pagans believed they placed an important part in the growth of the sun. And in the winter solstice, fires were kindled to help the sun's expiring light.
Well, they keep the light going. That's why you have lights everywhere in the Christmas time. Lights everywhere, lights in the street, lights in the trees, lights in the window. That's what they do. Go ahead.
The logs used in the fires to help the sun regenerate its light and heat were called Yule logs.
Some of y'all burn Yule logs. The word Yule means child. They would burn children instead. So they're throwing children in the fire instead. That's what that represents. Go down to the end of Babylon. Yeah, go ahead.
So real quick, let me say something about you. Because when we celebrate in Hanukkah, right? A lot of sisters put up them damn Christmas lights, man. Yo, listen, man. Y'all see where that thing come from. Y'all come up with your own decoration. Get some nice Hanukkah. You know what I mean? Don't bring no Christmas lights. Then do that Christmas crap, man. Because we see where them lights come from. You understand? So y'all come up with your own thing. I just wanted to put that out there.
Go down to in the Babylonian. In the Babylonian, right there. Liam? In the Babylonian.
In the Babylonian and Assyrian legend, Nimrod died in his prime, leaving a queen named Semiramis.
His mom wife. He married his mom. His mom wife. His wife. Mom wife. Go ahead.
At his death, Nimrod, according to legend, became immortal.
So he died and became immortal. Go ahead, watch this.
And his spirit flew up to the sun and took possession of
And
it.
conquered it. That's the unconquered son. Nimrod is the unconquered son. He's Sol Invictus. That's who it is. He's also Zeus. He's also Odin. He's also Father Time. He's also January. Janus, that's him. That's all him. Go ahead. I'm going to show you. Watch this. Go ahead. I'll show you.
Hence, he became Beel Saman, Lord of heaven.
And his wife, Mife, is queen of heaven. He's king of heaven. She's queen of heaven. Go ahead.
After Nimrod had died and became the sun god,
Sol Invictus.
Semiramis, his queen, became pregnant.
Watch this.
She claimed to be a virgin. And after Nimrod's death, according to legend,
that she spread,
begot a child by Nimrod's spirit coming down on her from the sun.
what that sound like? Immaculate conception, because that's where it comes from. Go ahead.
She proclaimed to her subjects that her husband's spirit entered into her womb through a sunbeam.
Watch this.
And begot the legendary God child Tammuz.
Uh-huh.
Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 14.
When was he born?
He was born December 25th.
That's who you worship Christmas Day. Through his immaculate conceiving, lying, deceptive mother. Mom wife. Mife. A sunbeam shined in her womb, and she miraculously conceived. Or now they call it the Holy Spirit now, instead.
Deacon Arthur, what's the name of this book?
This book is called Antichrist 666 by William Josiah Sutton. Now, it gets better. Get Ezekiel 8:14. Let's get that. Let's see the time Moses in the Bible. That's the pagan Messiah who was born miraculously, who white Jesus is based on, which is Babylon. Before the white man. I said before, Christianity predates the white man. The white man took it, adopted it, and taught it to the world and spread it. Because America, Edom is what? The daughter of Babylon.
Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 14.
Like mother like daughter.
Then he brought me to the door of the gate.
The Lord showed Ezekiel a vision of what the priests are doing in secret in the temple. Go ahead. And outside the temple. Go ahead.
Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
That who?
Weeping for Tammuz.
Women. That was a custom. They had to cry for Tammuz. Because he died as an infant. He didn't grow up as him. That's why you always see Mother Mary and baby Jesus all the time. Never grown up. He's always a baby all the time. That goes back to Tammuz. Forever baby. Forever baby white Jesus. Always a baby. He died as a baby, and so they weep him because he died as a child. So their custom was to weep him when he died. He was born December 25th, and he died as a child. Somehow, whatever, according to legend, whatever. Go ahead, read again. Women doing what?
Weeping for Tammuz.
So the custom was to weep for Tammuz. So now, that's Ezekiel 8:14. Let's go to Jeremiah 7:18. So Semiramis, we're going to read who she became. Matter of fact, no. Let's go. Let's jump forward. Let's go to, give me a second. Let's go to Matthew 1 real quick to destroy that. Matthew 1:1.
The book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 1.
So a sunbeam, hold on, we got to laugh at that some more. A sunbeam came and shined on her belly, and the baby was born December 25th. That's miraculous. That's how Christianity sounds. It's ridiculous legends and stories. It's stupid nonsense. It's foolish nonsense. And I'm going to show you through the class how foolish Christianity, modern Christianity is. Matthew 1:1, please.
The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David.
That's all I want. All I want is verse 1. Read again.
The book of the generation of Jesus Christ.
Remember earlier we read about the Jews, their genetic lineage, that's what generation is. Genes, genetic. That means he had a genetic lineage to David. The Messiah's generation, his generation, derives from men. Y'all understand? Read again, please.
The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham.
We're going to jump to verse 17.
Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying.
No, that's verse 17.
Oh, excuse me.
Verse 17.
Verse 17. So all the generations.
All the generations. Go ahead.
From Abraham to David are 14 generations.
Go ahead.
And from David unto the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations.
Go ahead.
And from the carrying away into Babylon unto Christ.
From the generations leading to Christ, what? Go ahead.
Are 14 generations.
Go to 16 and verse 13. Watch this. Because, no, I'm going to jump ahead. Watch this. Matthew 16, verse 13.
Matthew 16, verse 13.
Let's see what Christ calls himself.
When Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?
Stop. Now, how can he call himself the Son of Man and not be the Son of a Man? You know how retarded Christianity is? Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? I'm no one's son, but whom do men say that I am? Son of Man. A son of man is the son of a man. Once I'm trying to say DA. It feels good saying it. Son of man means you're the son of a man. Daniel was called that. Ezekiel was called that. They were not born through a sunbeam. They were born like everybody else. Daddy and mommy got it going, did things, and babies was born. You understand? Yes, sir. Time, keep it G, kids here. You understand? Son of man is called the son of man because he was a son of a man. This is common sense. Psalms 132, verse 11. Psalms 132, verse 11 and 12.
Psalms chapter 132.
He didn't call himself daughter of man. Son of a daughter, son of a mother,
woman.
son of a mother, or son of a woman. It's the son of man.
Or son of an angel.
The son of an angel, right? Right. Read that.
Psalms 132, verse 11. The Lord has sworn in truth unto David. He will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne.
Of the fruit of your body, David, will I set upon my throne. Next verse.
If thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony that I shall teach them, their children shall also sit upon thy throne forevermore.
Testimony is of Christ. The covenants of the law. Go to Acts 2:30.
Acts 2:30. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God has sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh.
According to what?
The flesh.
According to the flesh. According to the flesh. Go ahead.
He would raise up Christ to sit on his throne.
He would come out of the loins of David. Physical loins. Flesh is physical. Romans 1 and 3. We go over this over. That's what I'm skimming through. We go over this over and over again. It's redundant. But y'all get it.
Romans 1 and 3.
Romans 1 verse 3.
Concerning his son, Jesus Christ, our Lord, which was made of the seed of David.
Made of the seed. Sperm of David. That's what it's going into. Go ahead.
Which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh.
Saying it over, and they keep saying it over and over and over again. Hebrews 2:16, please.
Hebrews 2:16.
This is the banger. This one you use.
For verily he took not on him the nature of angels.
Read it again, please.
For verily he took not on him the nature of angels.
Which have no mother or father. Go ahead.
But he
Physical
took
mother or father. Go ahead.
But he took on him the seed of Abraham.
He came through the sperm of man. That's what it's saying here. Watch this. It's going to say it.
Wherefore in all things
Stop. Wherefore what?
In all things.
Wherefore in everything, in all things. Go ahead.
It behooved him.
He felt it suitable or right. Go ahead.
To be made like unto his brethren.
How were his brethren made? Miraculously? Like everybody else. Go ahead.
That he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people.
So why does Christianity push he was born miraculously? I'm going to tell you why. The elder brought to my attention before, and I thought about it, and now I understand what he meant. The reason why they pushed the Messiah was born miraculously is to take away his humanity. What I mean is this. They say the reason why Christ can keep the laws is because he was not a man. It takes a God to do that. Man can't keep no laws like that. Only a God can. So because of that, let's remove his humanity from him, make him a God, so it'll be impossible for a human to keep the laws. That's the purpose of it. That's the underhanded deceit of it. Make him more than a man, because man can't keep laws. Only a God can keep laws perfect. Even though Christ himself said, be perfect as my Father is in heaven, negate that. He wasn't a man himself, so we can't do what he did. He died on the cross. He nailed the laws to the cross for us. He died for us, so we don't got to keep laws no more. That's the whole premise of it. That's the whole deceit of Christianity. Make Christ not a man, remove that, so we can remove responsibility of keeping laws like he did. That's the whole point. The whole point is not keeping the commandments. That's the whole purpose. Y'all follow? Okay.
Right, and also what it says that Mary was a virgin. or ever, like they say, even after everything, they think like she was an ever virgin, meaning that nobody never dealt with her. But when you read the scripture, it tells you that Christ had brothers, right? And sisters. You know, so where are they getting these things from, man? Where are they getting these things from?
And you'll hear arguments like, where's Christ's father at? How come we don't talk about him no more? Where is Abraham's mom? Where's Abraham's aunt? Where's Abraham's nephew, nieces? Where they at? Why are these dumb questions? I don't care what Joseph is. What I do know is he put his penis in Mary and had Christ. That's all that matters. His penis matters. I don't care about it. That's it. Be honest. I can tell you that's all that matters. It's madness. Where is Joseph? Where is Abraham's mom? Where was Moses? I don't give it. I don't care. It's not. You're going to hear nonsense arguments like that. You're going to hear it. I'm telling you. Where is Abraham? I'm not going to do it. It's madness. Don't fall for semantics. Don't fall for it.
All right, let me bring out one thing in the Bible dictionary before you move on.
Oh yeah.
Go to Mary. Go to Mary, the Virgin. You know what I want, Liam?
What do you say? Well, I mentioned Joseph's penis being important as the loins, according to not to me. That's gay. But you understand what I'm saying? His loins matter because of the lineage of David. He came from the lineage of David. That matters. Your lineage comes through your father. So your seed of the father matters. Y'all understand? All right.
Mary, the virgin birth. You know what I want?
Right. That's good.
Yes, I have it. Page 348.
Right, because remember what Deacon Iton brought out. You understand? The Roman Catholic, they took over. They brought all kind of paganism inside the true Christian faith. You understand? They brought that sun worship and all of that. All right. They also brought the virgin birth, which we know they got all the way back from Egypt, from Babylon, from Nimrod and all of that. So read that right there.
It says, Mary, page 348.
I want
Yes.
the last
I got it. Yes, sir.
distinctively.
Distinctive Roman Catholic doctrines about Mary. Immaculate Conception, 1854. An Assumption of Mary, 1950.
All right, so you see, that's when that doctrine came about, in 1854. That's when they brought that doctrine that Christ had no father. Before that, they wasn't teaching that, because everybody know to bring 4 kids, you need a man and a woman. You know, before they wasn't teaching that immaculate conception. All right, but it says distinctively Roman Catholic doctrine. That's who came up with that, the Roman Catholic Church.
The Roman Catholic Church established that in 1854. That's their solid doctrine. She was born miraculously. And Mary is who they worship in the Catholic Church is Semiramis. They merged together because the Catholic Church worships Egypt. IHS, they say it's IHS, the symbol of Catholicism is Iesus Hominus or Salvatorum, means the savior of all mankind. But that's not what it means. It means Isis, Horus, and Set. That's what it means. They play games with you.
Hey, Aitan, another thing too, they got a lot of these nuns in them
Right,
talking
that's
about they want to be like Mary. You know, talking about they being celibate and virgins and so forth. But you see all the stuff that goes on in the Roman Catholic Church with them young boys. Mm-hmm. So imagine what goes on with them women that take that vow.
Right. That's Babylonian also. Nuns is also Babylonian. Go to page 28. Right there is good. Read that there.
To the first inhabitants of the world after the nod. Nimrod.
The flood.
The flood. Nimrod, the first king of Babel.
No, his name is Ninus. Nimrod also Ninus.
The first king of Babel. His queen Semiramis. And their miraculously born godchild Tammuz.
Miraculously born godchild Tammuz.
God-child.
I'll go back to my point about him not being a human. He's a godchild. Go ahead.
Godchild Tammuz. In parentheses, the son of the son.
The son of the son. Go ahead.
was the first pagan trinity.
First what?
Pagan trinity.
The first pagan trinity. That's where the Trinity comes from. Isis, Horus, and Set. Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Pagan trinity. This is Christianity right here. 101. Jump down to their pattern.
Their pattern of worship is usually the same.
The pattern of worship in this trinity was usually exactly the same customs, the same rites, the same traditions, same feast days, different names. Watch this.
Only the names are different because of the various languages in the world.
So when Nimrod was being worshipped and the Mosai could find the languages, they all continued to worship him and his wife and child, or so-called child, illegitimate child, when the languages were confounded. So they worshipped him in different languages. So they worshipped him as different. I'll show you the list. But the languages were confounded. They still worshipped those three. Go ahead.
Comparing Bible doctrine with pagan mythology. Comparing Bible doctrine with pagan mythology, scholars, both Christian and non-Christian, will agree that some of the most cherished traditions and ordinances kept by both Catholic and Protestant churches,
Christian churches,
have their origin from sun worship and not from the Old and New Testaments.
Next page.
Nimrod.
No, I want
from
beginning Sunday.
Sorry. Sunday
Sacred.
sacredness. Christmas. The Christmas tree. Easter. The Easter egg and bunny. Hot cross buns and Good Friday are not holy days and ordinances to be kept sacred from the Bible, but were sacred to the ancient Babylonian gods.
Watch this. Watch the name.
Nimrod, in parentheses, Baal.
That's Nimrod. Nimrod is Baal. Go ahead.
1 Kings chapter 16, verse 30 to 33. Semiramis, Ashtaroth.
That's her name. That's Easter. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 2, verse 13.
Go ahead.
And Tammuz, Adonis.
He's also Dionysus. He's also Bacchus. Pagan Messiah. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 14.
Scroll down. Right there, right there. Now heathen philosophy. Right there. Watch this.
Now heathen philosophy says when Semiramis died.
Now listen, remember Nimrod died. Who did he conquer? He conquered the sun. Sol Invictus. That's Nimrod. A.K.A. Baal, A.K.A. Zeus, A.K.A. Odin. We'll get to that. Go ahead.
Now heathen philosophy says when Semiramis died, her spirit, like her husband's Ninus, Nimrod, became immortal and flew up into the moon and took possession of it.
That's who Islam worships. That's her. Go to the moon. Go ahead.
She became the moon goddess.
Watch this.
The mother of gods. The queen of heaven.
Jeremiah 7:13. Jeremiah 7 and 18. See, that's in the Bible. We worship that. That's
the book
your
of
Easter. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 7 and verse 18. The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes.
That's those hot cross buns. Make the cakes. Go ahead.
To make cakes to the queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger.
Go to 44 verse 17. And Mother's Day, right? 44. And Father's Day too.
Jeremiah 44 verse 17. As for the word which thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord.
This is when Jeremiah visited Israel that was in Babylon. All right? You're being rebellious. Go ahead.
We will not hearken unto thee.
They were in Jeremiah visiting Egypt. They were hiding from Babylon in Egypt. Go ahead.
We will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth.
We're going to do what we want to do. Go ahead.
To burn incense unto the queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then we had plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil.
So people oftentimes will do things like wear a cross and go, see, now wear this cross and wear these beads. Good things happen to me. That's what they do. It's the same customs, the same exact nonsense. Read on.
But since we left off to burn incense to the queen of heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. So
by not worshiping her, we went through hell, we got killed, we got death, but we worship the queen of heaven, we're good. Go ahead.
And when we burn incense to the queen of heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her,
That also goes into your birthday cakes. Go ahead.
and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men?
So when we did these things, were not our men present? So the women were leading the households while in Egypt, while worshiping a female goddess. Because that goes into a role reversal. When you worship a queen, the woman becomes the queen of the house or the diva of the house. That's what that is. In the Christian church, the same thing. Women dominate the Christian churches. I know this. Christianity, women rule in Christianity. They rule. All right, now, continue that.
Now she became the moon goddess, the mother of gods, the queen of heaven. When her godchild Tammuz died.
So when she died, Ashtoreth or Semiramis, the wife, she became the queen of heaven. She conquered the moon. Go ahead.
When her godchild Tammuz died, the pagans claimed his spirit became immortal and took possession of the east star Venus.
The eastern star Venus. Go ahead.
That appears together with the sun and moon in the spring.
Watch this.
This was also known as the New Year Festival.
January. New Year Festival. Go ahead.
The reason they called it the New Year Festival was because in ancient times, pagans began their New Year in the spring, not in January.
But Esau changed it to January to throw you off. Go ahead.
As Baal, the Lord of heaven, had his visible home, the sun, so did Semiramis, as the queen of heaven, have her visible home, the moon. Tammuz, like his parents, took possession of the brightest lights in the sky, Venus.
So,
the east star.
Right, this goes back to Easter. Let's go to page 29. Page 30. Almost finished. Page 30. Right there. Satan invented these cruel guys right there.
Satan invented these cruel gods.
Satan means the other gods, the idols. Go ahead.
Invented these cruel gods and its cruel clergy
Other gods. Go ahead.
To guide those who worship them to destroy themselves.
Right.
Everything from cannibalism, sacred prostitution, rape, incest, homosexuality, murder, lying, stealing, self-emasculation,
cutting your genitals off, as they used to do also,
and suicide did these gods and their myths commit. Therefore, those who worship them were led to follow in their footsteps.
So the gods in their stories did these things, so the people who followed them did the same exact thing to themselves. Homosexual relationships, they killed themselves, they would steal, they would lie, they would commit incest, homosexual activity going on, prostitution, eating flesh. All right? So let's go to Wisdom of Solomon on 14:15. He explains briefly about Tammuz. Wisdom of Solomon 14, verse 15.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 15.
We're going to read the exact same things in Wisdom of Solomon. Watch this. You follow idols.
For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god.
At the Tammuz, he died as a baby, and they made him a god, the godchild. Go ahead.
Which was then a dead man.
A dead male. Go ahead.
And delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices.
Go ahead.
Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law.
Easter, Sunday worship, Christmas, New Year's. That's all the same. Go ahead, Easter, go ahead.
And graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings.
Well, Babylon now, go ahead.
Whom men could not honor in presence because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far and made an express image of a king whom they honored.
They took the image of this king and they made images of him and spread all around. Go ahead.
To the end that by this, their forwardness, they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present.
So they kept a picture of this dead king among themselves to honor him while they lived far away. They had a picture of him to worship him. Go ahead.
Also, the singular diligence of the artificer,
the artist,
did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition.
Go ahead.
For he, peradventure, willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion.
This goes into your Caesar Borgia, because he was the son of a king. Same thing. Go ahead.
And so the multitude, allured by the grace of the work, took him now for a god, which a little before but was honored as a man.
That goes right back to Nimrod. That goes right back to Caesar Borgia, a white image of Christ. The same exact thing. Go ahead.
And this was an occasion to deceive the world.
To do what?
To deceive the world.
This was done to deceive the world. Christianity was used to deceive the world, specifically the Israelites within this world. Go ahead.
For men serving either calamity or tyranny did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name.
They gave these idols the Most High's titles, the names. Go ahead.
Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace.
So our people call ignorance peace, and that's called the plague in the Bible. When you embrace ignorance as peace, that's a war. That's the plague, an illness. Go ahead. Yeah.
When Deacon Knighton said, when you embrace ignorance as peace, do you understand what he just said?
When you embrace ignorance as peace, that's the plague.
For instance, when somebody say they don't matter what color Christ is,
Right.
Jesus loves everybody. You know what? Or that's us being ignorant. You embrace ignorance as peace. You understand? So that's heavy right there, man.
So you plagued. That doesn't mean you're just sick. Read on.
For while they slew their children in sacrifices,
Read that right here. Go ahead.
or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites,
That's clubbing. Go ahead.
they kept neither their
That's
lives
clubbing. That's parades, carnival, bacchanal. It's the same thing. We worship that willingly now from that slave mindset. Go ahead.
They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another traitorously, or grieved him by adultery,
Well, they killed because we committed adultery. Go ahead. Sing with prostitutes. Go ahead.
so that there reigned in all men without exception of blood, manslaughter, theft,
Stealing.
and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury,
Lying.
disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind,
Emasculating. Self-emasculation. I go into sex changes, all of that. The same thing. Changing of kind. Go ahead.
disorder in marriages,
Women leading the men. Go ahead. Like in Jeremiah 44. Go ahead.
adultery,
That's prostitution. Go ahead.
and shameless uncleanness.
That goes into rape, incest, homosexuality. That's shameless uncleanness. Go ahead.
For the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil.
That's where evil comes from. Idolatry. Idolatry is the beginning and the end of it, of all evil on earth. Let's get Jeremiah 10 now, verse 1. I can get it. Jeremiah 10, verse 1.
Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1.
Hold on a second. Let me sure I want that first. Hold on. Scroll down real quick. Scroll down. Read this first. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. Then we'll get Jeremiah 10. Scroll down. Down. This short. Right there. Read it. There is not one single.
There is not one single scriptural evidence that supports the birth of Christ as being December 25th.
Watch this.
But history says December 25th was kept thousands of years before the birth of Jesus in honor of the pagan Messiah. Another name for Tammuz, the pagan godchild, was Baal Bereth, which means Lord of the fir tree.
Go down. Watch this.
The sun god, the mother goddess, and their son, according to the Babylonian mythology, were mystically changed into trees. This is the origin of burning the Yule log.
Go ahead.
Nimrod, defied as the sun god, was symbolized by a big fir tree stripped of all its branches and cut almost to
the ground. That's the stock. They worship the stock. Go over to the next page. To the right there, the ground. Liam.
cut to the ground.
Jump down to people of Aryan stock.
People of
Hold on. Go ahead.
People of Aryan stock who believed that the oak tree was a symbol of Zeus or Jupiter
Remember that name, Jupiter. They put that in our temple. Jupiter the defender. Go ahead.
believed that this branch was of mistletoe, which grew on the oak tree, and to be kissed under the mistletoe would ensure fertility.
That's where mistletoe comes from. Go up. Go up, go up, go up. Christianity's witchcraft. Go up. I mean, you go down. Well, go down to the picture I want the picture. There you go. That's a stock right there. Look on the right-hand side. It's a palm tree. They would decorate the palm tree with silver and gold, and then later on we put lights on it. I know everything in California did. In California they have that. Palm trees lit with lights around it around Christmas time. That's the first Christmas tree, the palm tree. Then later on, Esau said, okay, remove the palm tree. That's too obvious. Make it a pine tree instead. Okay? That's in honor of when Nimrod died, they say he was reborn as Tammuz, December 25th. That's what they're worshiping. Jeremiah 10 now. So now we know why they worship the trees. Jeremiah 10, verse 1.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Are afraid of those things. Shooting stars, an eclipse, that scares them. It's simple. Go ahead.
For the customs of the people are vain.
Lies.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold.
Yeah, that song, silver and gold. So that's their theme song, Christmas time. Go ahead.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not.
Those are the tree stands today.
They are upright as the palm tree,
Because they're the palm tree. Go ahead.
but speak not.
They don't speak because they thought that what? Nimrod and his wife turned the trees. They thought, if we don't do this, if we don't decorate with silver and gold, it'll come and attack us. So they would decorate it with silver and gold. Go ahead.
They must needs to be born, because they cannot go.
They must be carried. They can't walk. They're not alive. That's what Jeremiah is saying. These things aren't alive. Don't be afraid of them. Go ahead.
Because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they could not do evil.
The custom was to fear the tree and decorate it, or they'll attack you, because Nimrod turned to a tree. Go ahead.
Neither also is it in them to do good.
Right. So don't be afraid of those. It's nonsense, because the customs of the heathen are vain. Go to page 32 now. Watch this. We're going to go to the top. Page 32. Next page. Right there, like the Babylonians. Read that.
Like the Babylonians, they believed that gods could transform themselves into trees.
That's Jeremiah 10. Go ahead.
If their God answered their prayers, they took their dead victims along with their spoils of war and dragged them into their sacred grove, and there hung them on the sacred trees.
And hung dead bodies on sacred trees. Go ahead, watch this.
Such offerings have been recovered from bogs in Germany.
Watch this.
This begot the origin of hanging ornaments from the Christmas tree.
There you go. Go down. Go down. Next highlighted part, right there.
This pagan custom got its start from killing enemies and hanging their heads and their spoils from pagan sacred trees.
Ornaments. Christmas ornaments. The little balls. That's heads and bodies, as it represents. Somehow Jeremiah 10, that's not what that means. That's apologetics we saying. That's not what that means. You guys are idiots. That's why we don't talk to you. Morons. Not in the level. Not even on third base. Dumb as hell. Go to page 32. That's page 32 right there. Go to page 42. Page 40. Watch this. Now I'm going to show you. Remember I said earlier how they worship the same exact Trinity, different names, different languages. That's Osiris. That's also, I think that's Serapis as well. Go up. He's a black Egyptian guy. He's black. He's really dark, but it's a white picture. But he's a black. You understand what I'm saying? Their gods look like them. Go up right there. It says, here are just a few names that identify with the original pagan trinity of Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Read Israelites, go ahead, Liam.
Israelites. Nimrod, the Lord of heaven.
What they call him?
Baal.
What they call Tammuz?
Tammuz.
Semiramis is called?
Ashtaroth.
The Phoenicians called him?
El. Bacchus.
So Bacchus is Tammuz. Go ahead.
Astarte.
That's the Romans worship that god, Easter, Ashtoreth. Go ahead.
The Babylonians, Baalis, Belus, Tammuz, Rhea, Ishtar.
Ishtar is also Persians. Go ahead.
Assyria, Ninus, Hercules,
Hercules is born miraculously also. All these guys in the middle were born December 25th. Miraculously. All. What a coincidence. Go ahead.
Beltis, Greece, Zeus,
He worships Zeus. That goes back to Nimrod. That's him too.
Dionysus,
Dionysus also a pagan messiah, born December 25th.
Aphrodite,
There you go. Go ahead.
Rome, Jupiter,
Put that in our temple, Jupiter. Go ahead.
Attis,
That's also Tammuz.
Cybele,
Uh-huh.
Diana,
Of the Ephesians. Diana of the Ephesians, also Wonder Woman.
right.
Go ahead.
Egypt, Ra,
Uh-huh.
Osiris, Horus,
Uh-huh.
Isis, Hathor,
That's Queen of Heaven. Go ahead. Next one.
India,
Elam.
Vishnu,
That's Nimrod.
Krishna,
That's the pagan messiah,
Isi,
which sounds like Isis.
Devaki,
Next one.
China,
Uh-huh.
Panku,
That's Nimrod.
Yi,
Uh-huh.
Hingho, Masupo, Matsupo, Mexico, Tialu,
Quetzalcoatl, I think it is.
yeah,
Quetzalcoatl and Coatlique. is,
Coatlique, yep.
Next one.
Scandinavia,
Uh-huh.
Odin,
Celts. Odin.
Balder,
Uh-huh.
Frigg, or Freya.
Freya is the nuns
Freya.
of Freya. That's where nuns come from, and that's Friday. Frigga's Day, Freya's Day. That's Friday. Or Saturn Day. Romans changed our Sabbath day, and they gave it a name. Saturn Day. Or our rest day is their Saturn's Day. All right? So now, page 44. Almost done. It's short. Page 44. The bottom part. Then we'll be done with this book. I'm going to go to Easter. Yeah, read that.
The Queen of Heaven was also a goddess.
Read the top. Has the reader.
Has the reader ever wondered what the Easter bunny has to do with the resurrection of Christ?
I wonder. Go ahead.
Or the Easter egg?
Yeah.
Like the festival of the Christmas and the Christmas tree.
Right.
They have nothing whatsoever to do with the gospel of Christ.
Right.
The Queen of Heaven was also a goddess of fertility.
That's Semiramis, Sybil, Diana, fertility goddess, which goes, go ahead.
And because the rabbit and the hen were noted for their many offsprings, there were her symbols.
They were a symbol. The rabbit is Semiramis' symbol of fertility.
Even the word Easter
Even the word Easter itself, go ahead.
is of
Go back, next page. Watch
is
this.
of pagan origin.
Uh-huh.
It is Chaldean and means Astarte.
Uh-huh.
This
That's
is
Romans.
one of the titles of Beltis, the Queen of Heaven at Nineveh.
Read on, watch this.
There were many symbols that identified with pagan worship, and one of them was the letter T.
The letter T. Watch this, the capital T, because the Greeks crucified us also, but they crucified us on capital T's, not lowercase t's like the Romans. Go ahead.
This was the symbol of life beyond the grave, and it was also the symbol of Tammuz,
For his name, Tammuz. Go ahead.
the Lord of death and rebirth.
Resurrection, Easter again. Go ahead.
In Egypt, this symbol was called the Ankh.
Uh-huh.
As we established earlier, Baal worship sacrificed human beings. And because Tammuz's name began with a capital T, they would make wooden piles in the shape of a T and then place their sacrifices on them.
Hanging on a cross.
In due time, miniature amulets were made as symbols of sun worship. They looked like this.
And then Esau changed it into a lowercase t. Christianity, the cross. You wear on your neck now. That's the Ankh. It's all the same thing. The Ankh, the T, all that's the same exact thing. That represents the penis and the vagina. That represents life. That's supposed to be. So now let's go to Acts 12, verse
Hey,
1.
Deacon.
Yeah.
What's heavy about that Ankh is you got Negroes who despise a cross, but they wear that in place of it.
And it's the same exact
And
thing.
it's
the exact
it's
same
just
thing.
as evil.
And-
So you see black people walking in the street thinking they deep. They got two of them sometimes.
Yep.
They'll put it on the hat.
Go back to that, the Ankh again. Load up again. Now, I mentioned earlier that that Ankh represents the woman's vagina on top and the man's penis is in the bottom. That is the same symbol synonymous with the hexagram. The two triangles is also a penis and a vagina. They mean the exact same thing. Two paganistic symbols representing life. Two triangles, and that is exactly the same thing. Hexagram and that are the same symbol. That's what I'm saying to you. So we don't rock that in here. That's all I want. Acts 12, verse 1. You mentioned earlier how Herod had killed James, brother of John. We'll read it again from the top. 1. We're going to read the verse.
Yes, sir. Acts 12 and 1.
Yeah.
Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also.
Watch this.
Then were the days of unleavened bread.
During this time was Passover was taking place. During this time, go ahead.
And when he had apprehended him,
He arrested Peter. Go ahead.
he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him,
Watch this.
intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Stop. Now, Easter here, I've heard rumors that Easter here translates to the word Passover. Originally, it did, but not in this chapter here. It did not. Let's go to Zonovan. You know what I want. Dictionary. Go look up Easter there. Zonovan Bible Dictionary there. And I want you to go to Bible Study Tools. I sent you the link. Bible Study Tools. Hold that. Go to Bible Study Tools. Watch this. Because I was told that if we can't deal with the Hebrew, listen, you're going to like this one. We can't deal with the Hebrew, explain Easter. Because Easter, when you go to Hebrew, it translates to Passover. Okay. So you gotta go into the Hebrew to understand the Bible in certain times. No, that's not true. Go to the Bible. The Bible, no, go to the link where it says the arrow next to the Bible. It says the Bible is your arrow. No, I'm sorry, don't leave it alone. Go to version. Yeah, go to translation. Go down to T, you should see Tyndale. Tyndale. Yep, click that. All right, stay there. Read that, please. Zonovan, read that.
Easter. Hold on. Okay. Rendered, it says Easter in parentheses, Passover.
Stop. Easter rendered Passover. So Easter and Passover in some contexts were synonymous. Watch, I'm going to show you what I mean. Go ahead.
Rendered Easter in Acts chapter 12, verse 4.
Rendered Easter in Acts chapter 12, verse 4.
King James Version.
King James Version, go ahead.
But correctly translated Passover in ASV.
But correctly translated Passover in the ASV. ASV stands for American Standardized Version Bible. That's the Revised Version Bible. Now, we know about the Revised Version Bibles. You know what they do, don't we? They take things out. Like Jeremiah 14:2, with American Standardized Version, it ain't going to say black unto the ground in there. If you go to black but comely in the Standard Version, it's not going to say black and comely. It's going to say dark and lovely. Different things. Black and dark, different things. I drive a dark car. What color is the car? Red, green, blue. Drive a black car. It's a black car. A dark man robbed my house. Well, what was he? A dark man. Well, which one that mean? Which one? What is he? A black man robbed my house. You don't know if I say a black man robbed my house, you know, it's us. See my point? That's what American Standardized Version Bibles do.
The key thing, Deacon, is why every place it says black, they changed it.
Right.
If it wasn't a big deal, if we're making the Bible to say something else, then leave it alone.
Right.
Okay, same thing with Job 30:30.
Yep.
It says, my skin is black upon me. They changed it to my skin turns black or my skin grows black.
Right.
Why change it? What was the purpose of it? That's why we tell y'all we only deal with the King James 1611 Bible.
Right.
Because as we started to rise up with the understanding of the scriptures, that's when the scholars said, we need to change this. Them niggas is waking up.
Yep. Now go to the etymology. Go to type in ESTER. ESTER in there. This is a Tyndale Version Bible. William Tyndale was the father of the English Bible. See that? Look what it says. This is Tyndale Version. Matthew 26, verse 2. You know that after it, the days blow up some more. I can't really see that. Shall be, yeah, there's the words to put different. Shall be Esther, and Son of Man shall be delivered to be crucified. Go down. They say the white man put Easter there. It's written here dozens of times. And Tyndale was no white man. He said, go into the city unto such a man and say to him, the master saith, my time is at hand. I will keep my Easter at thy house with my disciples. After 2 days followed Easter and the days of sweet bread. So Easter and Passover were, at one point in time with William Tyndale, synonymous. Because during his time, it was Catholic Britain. They observed Christian, they acknowledged Passover, they called it interchangeably either Passover or Easter. He knew that. He translated the Old Testament in the year 1526, and I think the New Testament in 1530. The only way he could think of for the New Testament that could fit Passover in their proper context, because Easter can be translated out of Greek into English. Astarte in Greek and Easter in English. Okay, I'll use this word. This word people understand. If I put Easter here, they'll know I'm referring to Passover, because during his time in Britain, Easter and Passover were synonymous. You follow what I'm saying? I got to prove it now. Go to Tyndale, please. William Tyndale, Wikipedia. During his time, Christians of his time acknowledged that Easter and Passover were one and the same. So he put the word Easter there as the English translation for Passover. You follow? That's why in the KJV it says rendered Passover in Acts 12:4. That's not Passover there. That's not that right there. Easter and that 12:4 is actual Easter paganism. I'm gonna prove it. Go down. It says William Tyndale was in the English. Read it real quick.
William Tyndale, sometimes spelled Tinsdale, born 1494 to 1536.
He got put to death. Go ahead.
Was an English scholar who became a leading figure in Protestant reform in the years leading up to his execution. He is well known for his translation of the Bible into English.
Jump down. Go down with the
He
point.
was in.
No, with the point. Go down to right there. Tyndale's translation.
Tinsdale's translations was the first English Bible to draw directly from Hebrew and Greek
He
texts.
was very fluent in, unlike these Jakes today, black Hebrew Israelites today who use concordances and Strongs, and Ben Yehuda, he actually spoke these languages fluently. So he was able to directly translate them from Hebrew and Greek texts. Go ahead.
The first English one to take advantage of the printing press.
So he took advantage. Because the church, Roman Catholic Church that governed Britain at the time, did not allow you to read your own. You had to teach you. You couldn't learn on your own. You couldn't read it yourself. You had to go to church and have them teach it to you. Like in church today. You sit there. He has the Bible open. He's saying God is this. And you're sitting there clapping your hands. Well, back then, the same thing. You weren't allowed to have a Bible in your hand. So he said, well, that's not fair. Why can't we read for ourselves? So he translated it out of the Latin, or out of the Greek, out of the Latin at the time, into English. So everyone can read it. And he took advantage of the printing press. That was illegal during that time to do that. Read it.
And first of the New English Bibles of the Reformation. It was taken to be a direct challenge to the hegemony of both the Roman Catholic Church and the laws of England, maintaining the church position.
So the government of England maintained the church's authority. If you did that, if you translated the Bible into English against the church's orders, you get put to death. The church ruled the state. You understand? The Roman Catholic Church, this is Roman Catholic England. They were against that. Go ahead.
In 1530, Tyndale also wrote The Practice of Prelades.
That's all I want that.
Okay.
Go down to right there, 1535.
In 1535, Tyndale was arrested and jailed in the castle of
Vilvoord.
Vilford.
Or Filford, go ahead.
Filford, yes. Outside Brussels for over a year. In 1536, he was convicted of heresy and executed by strangulation.
He was hung.
After which his body was burnt at the stake.
Damn. Go ahead.
His dying prayer was that the King of England's eyes would be opened. This seemed to find its fulfillment just 2 years later when Henry VIII authorization of the Great Bible for the Church of England, which was largely Tyndale's own work.
Largely, but it wasn't fully because they corrupted it. Go ahead.
Hence, the Tyndale Bible, as it was known, continued to play a key role in spreading Reformation ideas across the English-speaking world and eventually to the British Empire.
Next paragraph.
In 1611, the 54 scholars who produced the King James Bible drew significantly from Tyndale, as well as from the translations that descended from his.
Watch this.
From his. One estimate suggests that the New Testament in the King James Version is 83% Tyndale's, and the Old Testament 76%.
Borrowed a lot from him. Go ahead. It borrowed. So compared, remember it says in the Bible, compared and revised in your Bibles. Go ahead.
His translation of the Bible was the first to be printed in English
So they call him the father of the English Bible. That's why they call him that. Go ahead.
and became a model for subsequent English translations. In 2002, Tyndale was placed at number 26 in the BBC's poll of the 100 greatest Britons.
Yes. Now, why am I going through this? Because why is Easter left in Acts 12 and 4? Because when Tyndale translated it, Easter was all over the Bible as another term for Passover. Oh, that's what I want. Give me Passover etymology online. I want that. That's what I wanted. The word Passover came from him. That's his term. He coined that term. The word Passover was non-existent before him. Passover came from him.
Passover.
Watch it.
Passover, 1530. Coined by Tyndale from verbal phrase Passover. To translate Hebrew, ha-pasah.
The Passah. Ha means the Passah. Ha-Passah, the Passover. Go ahead.
Passover. From Passah, see, Pascal.
Paschal is the Greek form.
In reference to the Lord passing over the houses over the Israelites in Egypt when he killed the firstborn of the Egyptians.
When he read, he said, okay, what sounds good? He said, angel Passover. Passover. I'll use that. And he put Passover in the Old Testament in 1530, and he translated the New Testament in 1526. And he was killed in 1535. Go to Easter, type in Easter, go into the glossary, type in Easter. Yeah, click that, see what it says. It should say the same thing. Easter. Read that.
Old English Easter Dag.
Easter Day.
Easter Day.
Easter Day. It's Easter Day. Go ahead.
From Istra, Northumbrian Eostri. Right. From Proto-Germanic Austrian, dawn.
Like astronomy.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Also the name of a goddess of fertility and spring, perhaps originally of sunrise, whose feast was celebrated at the spring equinox from Ost, just east, toward the sunrise. Compare east from pi root Ost, to shine, especially of the
Goes
dawn.
back to Esther, Ishtar, Astarte, Ashtoreth. It's all the same. Go to the dictionary I gave you, Harper's Dictionary. So Easter refers to a fertility goddess of the spring. But that same time, Passover was also held. So they were interchangeably observed in Christian Britain, in Catholic Britain. Read that, Christian festival.
The Christian festival that celebrates Jesus' resurrection. The name Easter derives from the Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring, Eostre or Astara.
Astara goes to Ashtoreth. Go ahead.
But the Christian festival developed from the Jewish Passover, Hebrew Pesach, Greek Pascha.
Paschal. We read that earlier.
Yes.
That's all I want. So Easter is referring to a pagan fertility goddess. But in Catholic Britain, those festivals were interchangeable. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Interchangeable. Both of them were spring festivals, one acknowledging Passover, one acknowledging the spring fertility or resurrection of Christ, whatever, which is still pagan in origin. Now, go to Zonovan real quick, what you had. Officer Liam, Zonovan, about the Bible, King James Bible.
Yes, sir. Bible. This is page 86, Zonovan Bible Dictionary. King James Version. When 47 of the best Hebrew and Greek scholars of the day.
So out of those 50, what? Was it 54?
Yes, sir, 54.
47 remained diligent to doing the work. Go ahead.
47 of the best Hebrew and Greek scholars.
Thank you. 47 of the best Hebrew, because Tyndale was also a scholar and very well versed in different languages. Go ahead.
Of the best Hebrew and Greek scholars of the day were divided into 6 groups.
We're divided into 6 groups. Go ahead.
3 for the Old Testament.
Go ahead. 3 groups of the Old.
2 for the New.
Uh-huh.
And 1 for the Apocrypha.
Go ahead.
2 of the groups met at Oxford, 2 at Cambridge, and 2 at Westminster. Westminster. When a group had completed its task, its work was submitted to 12 men, 2 from each panel. Final differences of opinion was settled at a general meeting
So this
of
took
each
time.
company.
Hold on. This work took time with scholars. Men, it was filtered, make certain it's done right. It's all written exactly the same. It was clear. You understand what I'm saying so far? Go ahead.
Final differences of opinion was settled at a general meeting of each company.
Uh-huh.
In cases of special
If
difficulty,
there were any difficulties regarding these scholars alone, go ahead.
learned men
Men who are wiser than all 47, go ahead.
outside the board of revisers
Outside the council,
were consulted. Marginal notes were used only to explain Hebrew and Greek words to draw attention to parallel passages.
annotations. That's in the middle of your Bible. On the middle. Go ahead.
Italics were used for words not found in the original, but necessary to complete the sense.
So that's all I want. So these men had a council. It was filtered. It took time and process. Why would they leave Easter there by accident? It's no accident. They took Easter out. All them times Tyndale had it in there. They put Passover there. Passover, all through there. But left Easter in Acts 12 and 4. Why? Let's see who got it. Why did they leave Easter in Acts 12 and 4 but take it out everywhere else? Let's see who got it. I'm asking a question. I'm not making a statement. Yes. You on the mic? Who has the mic? Standing up. Stand up, brother. Yes. Hand on the mic.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Because the word Easter and Passover were used interchangeably at the time, and the term Easter was what people understood at that particular time when it was written.
But why was it left in Acts 12 and 4 and not everywhere else?
I don't know.
Not sure. Who can get it? Pass it back there. Remember, Herod was going to wait to kill Peter after Easter.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Because that Easter wasn't the same as the Passover.
What was it?
It was the real Easter that the Christianity was celebrating.
Thank you. The Romans worshipped Easter at start. The scholars has to listen. Tyndale's right about Passover here, but that right there, he's observing Easter here. Leave that there. And they left Easter there. Remember, I showed y'all how they went to a faculty. It was time. They compared, make sure it's done right, but forgot Easter in Acts 12 and 4. It's no. It's no error. That was meant to be there because Easter was being observed by Herod. He was a Roman. The Romans worshipped at start the fertility goddess. Y'all follow?
That's why he asked you, how come it's only there?
Right, it's
and
nowhere
it's
else.
no place else. Every place else, it says Passover, but when you get there, it says Easter. Okay? That was a custom that they were doing at that time.
Right, that's why I showed you. That's why Tyndale put it everywhere. He put Easter here, Easter here. I showed y'all Tyndale's version. Easter here, Easter there, because that was, to them, in Roman Catholic Britain, interchangeable. But the King James Version scholar said, nah, that's going to cause confusion. Take that out, leave Passover. Use Tyndale's coin term Passover, but Easter, leave Easter in Acts 12 and 4, because Herod was observing Passover, because the Romans worshiped Passover, and Herod was an observer of the Roman customs, because he was a Roman affiliate himself. Y'all understand? So the Romans, or Herod, a Roman Edomite, they observed Astarte, which is another term for Easter. You understand? Astarte, because Astarte can be translated into English. Easter is an English word, but Easter translated out of the Greek, Astarte, or Latin Astarte. You understand? So he used that word. Okay, I'll use Easter here, because it can translate out of Greek. New Testament is written in Greek. I'll use a word that can be translated out of Greek into English. I'll use Easter. And that's what he did in the New Testament. Old Testament, he kept Passover. New Testament, he used Easter. Because that's a Greek word that can be translated into an English word, which would be Easter, which goes to both Passover and pagan Easter. Acts 12 and 4 is actual pagan Easter. Everywhere else is Passover. So he was going to kill Peter. Remember, Passover falls around the same time. Easter falls around the same time Passover does. So he said, I'm going to kill him after I celebrate my holiday, then I'll kill Peter. The angel said, nah, you can get out of jail. Get out of jail, free card. Get out of there. Get out of there. And he got out and kept teaching. Y'all understand? Isaiah 28:11. Last verse. No, it's a lot, but I had to get through it. Isaiah 28, verse 11.
Isaiah 28, verse 11. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people.
So the Most High had it prophesied that the Bible will be translated into a language that our people can understand. And William Tyndale was the forerunner of that prophecy being fulfilled in terms of it being translated into English. Y'all understand? Into English. It had to be. So we don't need a Hebrew translation to understand that Easter doesn't belong. Easter does belong there. They were worshiping Astarte, Easter, the pagan fertility goddess. That's not going into Passover in that context. Everywhere else is Passover, but there it's not. It's Easter. Ashtoreth. 1 Samuel 7:3. Then I'm done. I left that part out. 1 Samuel 7:3 to see who Herod was worshiping. 1 Samuel 7:3 to see who Herod was actually, or the Romans worshipped.
1 Samuel 7:3.
Is that it? Yes.
And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying, if you do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtoreth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines.
Go ahead, verse 4.
And then the children of Israel did put away Balaam
Nimrod
and Ashtoreth,
his wife,
and served the Lord only.
and served the Lord. They put away Baal, sun worship, and they put away Ashtoreth, moon worship, and served the Lord only. They put away Easter from them. Y'all understand? All right. So with that, we're going to break.
Now,
That's it.
hold on.
Come on.
Yo, I thought you just dropped some heavy on them, man. You know?
Yes, sir.
Yo, you all got to understand, you're getting hit with some heavy stuff. I hope you all understand it, man. Because for decades, this right here, nobody ain't brought that out as yet. This is the first time this understanding coming out. I hope you all understand that. You know, you see, Aiton went in his whole thing. He did his thing on this right here. You know? So I hope you brothers and sisters understand. This is another level of understanding. And while Aiton bring it out, it just, as I say, it's plain. You know, it's plain, man. You know, it's plain. But as I said, man, and this truth is about growth, and the Most High going to take us to other levels. So what you all got today, man, that's some heavy stuff right there. I hope you all understand it.
So in conclusion, Christianity did not stem from the white man. It came from Babylon first, then from the Egyptians, or vice versa, whatever. Then Esau took that, exploited it, and used it to deceive the whole world, targeting primarily our people. You understand? That's how I end it.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.